9 FM, WTGZ, Tuskegee, Auburn. Since 1995, Alabama's sports talk leader, Tiger Communications, proudly presents SportsCall. It's time to join our SportsCall crew as they discuss the latest headlines and happenings around Auburn and the entire sports world. To be part of the show, give us a call at 334-887-3401 locally or toll free at 1-888-9-TIGER-9. We're taking phone calls all show long and want to talk about whatever you've got on your mind. And now, coming to you live from the loveliest village on the plains, Auburn's first and Auburn's favorite sports talk show, SportsCall.
Welcome, Auburn, into the Thursday edition of SportsCall, live on Tiger 95.9, the Tiger.fm, the Tiger Communications app, and streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. My name is Ryan Lavoie, the host of the program. Today, I'm joined by Brooks Childress and Jack Myrick for the full 3 hours this afternoon as we come to you live from our Auburn Bank studios on South College Street. On today's program, we will talk to Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Observer at 3:30, our first chat of the 2026/27 campaign in terms of getting ready for the football season. We are excited to catch back up with Ferg. We did talk to him down in Tampa at SEC Media Days, but we're going to get his full thoughts on the first couple weeks of fall practice and putting the pads on in full for the first time and all of that sort of thing. So we'll talk to Ferg about that and maybe a question or two about the basketball team when they were overseas in Greece. Also on today's program, a dispute between Jaden Daniels and LSU. We'll tell you why this one is a bit odd and not becoming of the former Heisman Trophy winner. Also on today's program, it's time to preview number 6 in the preseason SEC media poll, and that'll be Alabama. So we'll preview the Crimson Tide in the 5 o'clock hour of today's program. If you want to give us a phone call to join us on the SportsCall phone line, 334-887-3401 locally, or toll-free 1-888-9-TIGER-9. We'll also give you an update or two from the FedEx St. Jude Championship as they play in, I believe, Memphis, as Jackson Coyven played earlier today. Unfortunately, not great for Jackson. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But Ryan, Brooks, and Jack with you here today. Jack Myrick, how are you doing on this Thursday, sir?
I am doing all right. Definitely just enjoying it Thursday. I hope that this weather is clear by the time I get home so I can walk the dog. Last night, outside your building at our apartments that you and I stay at, I'm not joking, my dog decided to squat on the concrete as someone pulled up. And this was at night, too, so their high beams are just flashing on me as he's squatting in front of their car. And I just have to stand there. And he went for a while. He took his time. To enough time for the person to get out of their car, and usually when you lock your doors, the high beams will turn off or your lights turn off. So I'm just staying there, just bright lights as my dog is just squatted, just as this person's pulling into their spot. And I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. You couldn't just get to the grass over here or nothing. So then I have to, but yeah, that was, I was kind of defeating a bit, just having someone just sit in their car and watch me have to scoop down and pick that up. So. But
at least you did scoop down and pick it up, though.
Yeah.
They get very frustrated when people don't. I've seen many a notice about that. So.
Otherwise, yeah, then you would have been coming in today and be like, God, somebody just left it on the sidewalk.
Oh, man. Oh, Brooks Childress, how are you doing today, sir?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic. It is hopefully if you are out there driving around or in at your business, there's a severe thunderstorm over in the Opelika area right now, not here currently at the station, but hopefully everybody is being safe during that and continues to be safe during these pop-up afternoon thunderstorms. But I'm doing fantastic. The Atlanta Braves last night were able to get another series win on the air, beating the New York Mets and beating the Mets in the last time that the Braves will see them this year. So it's even though you lost.
You don't think the Mets will see him in the playoffs?
Well, you never can say never.
With the last place record.
But are they mathematically eliminated yet, or is it they're still just a little too early to be mathematically?
They're theoretically eliminated.
And so, you never say never, but they're not going to, it won't see it. And so it's really, it was, as a Braves fan, good to get one last one over on the Mets before you see him again in spring training next year. Maybe not, maybe 2 years from now, maybe 4 years from now, and, maybe never again because Rob Manfred wants to kill baseball. Anyway, that was fun last night. Also, last night I went out to the Auburn Soccer Complex for the opening night of the regular season for Auburn Soccer. Nice showing out there. There was a pretty good crowd. I feel like I can't say that it was like tangibly more than what I've seen on past opening nights, but I think there was a few more soccer jerseys out there that I'd seen. So maybe a few more people are latching onto the sport after the World Cup this summer. Who's to say?
Do you have an Auburn soccer jersey?
I don't.
Big fan.
I don't. They don't sell them as much. Like that's not something.
If you're a real fan, you would have got one, even like a Temu one that's like got the AU hanging off.
Man, I do have a scarf at home. I've got the scarf going on at home.
I actually have a Packers scarf. I don't know why, but I just do.
Oh, it's probably because y'all playing, the North Pole.
Yeah, but it's a soccer
tundra
thing. It is like a soccer. The scarf is a very soccer apparel.
It is very soccery. But yeah, that was fun. The Auburn and top 25 Clemson played to a 0-0 draw, which, if you're, trying to win over fans of soccer may not be the best example of a game, but when Auburn, you get a point out of that. And it was, a team that, maybe should have come in here and beat Auburn. They had their returning goal scorer, top goal scorer from last year. And so it was great. Kennedy Husbands out there was really good last night. Dylan Driver, one of the returner came in and was really good last night. So at least a semi-positive start for year 2 of Coach Armstrong. And if you want to hear what he was thinking before the season started, you can go find his interview that we did last week with Coach Armstrong on the SportsCall podcast feed. It's out there, but it was so fun. They'll be back in action, I think, on Sunday evening against Jacksonville State at home. So if you didn't get out there last night, I highly encourage you to get out there Sunday evening and check out the ladies because it's such a fun environment. And hopefully, they did. They sent out the big survey about the future of Auburn athletics and different things. And I know that's been making the rounds on social media. Hopefully, one of those things was an improvement to the Auburn Soccer Complex. So hopefully, we see that come to fruition because I think that we've talked about it before. We talked about it with Coach Hoppa when she was here. That's a program that needs to be taken care of when it comes to facilities there, when on the fan side of things, and just having bathrooms in the building would be fantastic. But it's it was so fun last night, and hopefully they continue the positive start and get some more positive results going forward. And yeah, can't wait to have a fun show today. Can't wait to talk to all of our callers and guests and just have a fantastic Thursday. Brian, how are you?
It's been fantastic.
Heck yeah.
Fantastic Thursday so far. I was laughing, or at least inwardly laughing, as I yawned multiple times while you talked, not because I was bored whatsoever, but because, as you know, this studio, and usually led by me, but Tom participates a lot with me, is a yawn fest to start the show usually. And it's because we eat late. Like the average person probably eats lunch in the 11 or 12 o'clock hour, and we eat at like 1:30 every day.
Yeah.
And so I'm just now finishing digesting, and I yawn every time. And now that we're on camera, you get to see me yawn every single show to open up the show, as if I have just zero energy whatsoever. So I need to make sure I always bring the energy. So even though the visuals show that the brain is tired, we are still wired. But I'm doing well.
Do you guys eyes tear up when you yawn? Because I do bad. Like I look like I'm crying sometimes if I get in a yawning fit.
Not usually.
I'm not every time, but sometimes.
I was doing that earlier too, going to get lunch before, and I was like wiping my eyes. I was like, great, this lady's gonna have to cash the register. She's like, Man, like, sir, it's just boneless wings. Is that all you?
They're just so
It's not that
beautiful.
spicy, sir.
But yeah, no, if I did have my eyes water, I'd have enough to fill up a water bottle with how much I do end up yawning. But no, it's been a good day so far. Again, hit the course, baked a little, feel a little crispy, but had a good time this morning and plenty of work to be done. So we've been doing it and plenty to talk about today. So let's get to it. Again, we'll be joined by Justin Ferguson at 3:30 today, and we'll talk all things Auburn football as they get through fall camp here and get closer and closer to the season. We are now 23 days out from the opener against Baylor. Meanwhile, 16 days from that elusive week 0 when we get the season going. So we're getting closer and closer. We will talk later about some other college football issues like Jaden Daniels and why he's in the news today. But we'll start Auburn as we typically do. And I think that as we progress through fall camp, we've continued to talk different positions, different standouts, that sort of thing. One group that we usually do not hear much from in fall camp, and the reason being they don't do as much with it as they install a bunch of different things. But one thing you don't hear as much about is special teams. We have not talked about that this fall, and I want to talk a couple of minutes about it because we enter a season in which we believe that Alex McPherson is healthy right now. We know that sometimes that can be a little bit volatile, but right now and for an extended stretch of time now, Alex has been in a good place. We obviously saw him down in Tampa at SEC Media Days. So we believe that Auburn's field goal kicking game will greatly improve from what we've seen it when the bit of the carousel in Alex McPherson's absence over the last couple of years. You've also got the potential of having a very dangerous return room with Rayshawn Pleasant returning. And again, guys, like I know it's not up to the pecking order, but we have time to talk about it all when you talk about it, as often as we do. And this special teams unit was not good, really, in just about any form or fashion. Again, Rayshawn Pleasant had a couple of explosive returns, but I didn't felt like they particularly punted it well last year. I didn't feel that they covered it overly well. I don't feel obviously that they kicked very well, and that was not why Auburn lost close games, because Auburn had far more to blame with the offense malfunctioning. But that is something that if they engage in close games again this year, we could begin to talk about the difference of special teams being a positive or negative once again.
And throughout Auburn's history, that Auburn's always had a really good special teams unit. I mean, we could start going back kickers and just keep naming kickers that ended up going on and at least playing a little bit in the NFL, and having a huge impact at Auburn. And so just from that aspect, just from the kicking aspect, it's been a spot that Auburn's always prided itself in, much like the running back position for Auburn, much like the different schools are. We're this school. It's Auburn has been one of those where they've always had special teams. It feels like Auburn always had the upper hand when it would come to Auburn versus Alabama. When you talk about who you compare yourself directly to, Auburn versus Alabama, for the majority Auburn's always had the upper hand there. There's been a few times that Alabama's gotten some really good kickers, and recently they've had a string of a couple good kickers. But it's a position group and an area that Auburn always prides itself in being very, very good at. And so I think that it's important to get back to that standard. Hopefully, Alex McPherson being healthy, we've seen the potential, we've seen what he's able to do, but it's just keeping him healthy, and hopefully he's able to stay healthy all season long and be able to kick. I saw where he was cleared to start doing some more long range stuff here in fall camp, and so it's vitally important for them to have that part of the unit going, because I'll even go back just not too far ago. What was it, 2016? Auburn beat LSU and ended Les Miles' career at LSU on field goals. It was Carlson just nailing field goals. And so that was it's a spot that Auburn needs to have be very, very positive in. And then you mentioned the returners, guys like Rayshon Pleasant. I'd mentioned him. I'd voted him in my SEC all SEC voting at SEC Media Days to be one of the return guys, one of the all SEC returners. And also I mentioned him when we went through guys that I think it was a few weeks ago. We went through guys we want to see pop this year for Auburn. And I said Rayshon Pleasant, not just because of the returning, but on the defensive side of the ball. But, when you've got to be able to have some explosive guys out there. We talked about a few years ago. We talked on Tuesday about, Alabama and Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle. And Jalen Waddle was explosive returner. He was you did not want to kick to him. And so that's what Auburn needs to find here. And I think Rayshon Pleasant has the ability to be that type of player where you get teams not kicking to him. And so it's going to be vitally important to make sure that this team, I think it's a solid group. I think that you just look at it on paper. I think that from punting to kicking to returning, I think they've got a decent grouping this year that can get this Auburn special teams back to one of the better units in the SEC if everything goes according to plan.
It's definitely needs to be something that's effective, because you saw that during the freeze era where it was struggled that cost them games. They needed 3 points and they couldn't do that at bad times. Sure, you've dealt with the Alex McPherson illness. He's battled back from that. Then you had Towns Magoo, who was a highly touted prospect coming out of Auburn High, had all the talent, but just didn't seem to have the mental kind of to get over that because he got thrust in so early as a true freshman. And so now when you have a new head coach, you have the expectations of, I would say, a 7-win season. You really need special teams to be on point this season. They be hitting field goals that are right there for them. Get the points when needed. They need to have, punt returns, they set up, good for the offense, because, this defense can cause that. They did that all last season and had opportunities for the offense to get going, and the offense just stalled out. So if you can have an offense that is be able to score, kicking the ball if they needed, and then two, having a punt returning that can set up the offense to score, Auburn will be in great shape this year if that's the case. And that's why special teams is very important. It's that forgotten side of football, because most people think, hey, just make the kick off, whatever. There's so much special teams for setting up the drive for the offense.
Yeah, and I should say, last year, Alex McPherson was able to be out there, and he was effective from short range. It's just he never got around to having the full strength. He did get, I think, up to about 50 yards at one point, but he was kicking from mid-50s earlier in his Auburn career. So, the hope is that he's regained the full strength because, again, he was out there and he was having a really solid season from short range. But, I think that overall, I would not rate Hudson Cox's season last year as overly successful. I think that, anytime you have the bigger range, it opens up more possibilities immediately after you get past midfield. And I think that, when you think of one-score games, and you're going to be a little hard-pressed to remember everyone specifically. I remember the one a couple of years ago against Missouri where they really had kicking issues that were big in that one. But, you never, it's sometimes hard to remember 11 months after the fact, 10 months after the fact, or years after the fact, when you lose a game by 3 points, but you forgot about that time where you had a really poor punt, gave the other team a short field, they score a touchdown, or you, are not able to kick a 55-yard field goal. You have to go for it, or you have to punt or something like that, and other teams would be able to get, and again, not as common in the NFL, but now we've reached the stage in college football where 55-yarders are very doable for many kickers, at least at the big time programs. And so, like we've seen special teams blunders before. Again, be a part of the equation. Obviously, a huge drop in the punt return game a couple years ago in the Iron Bowl. Like these things that Auburn felt like for a while could win a game that way, as Brooks, you mentioned, the Daniel Carlson game. There were other times where teams would lose against Auburn because of their special teams. But recently it has not been nearly as positive. I still think back to one of the most recent times Auburn can say they got the special teams advantage, which again was not necessarily their own accord, but was back in the Brian Harsin tenure where Harrison Mevis, the Missouri kicker, missed an inexplicably short field goal that he does not miss ever and has not missed in the NFL, but missed on that day. So every now and then you win the special teams battle because someone just does something unthinkably bad or poor. But if Auburn can get going back in the right direction with all those different components, including their return game, that's another little feather in your cap when it comes to these either lower scoring games, but also just one score games and the battle of field position. And it's also something where tonight they get going in the NFL preseason as a whole with a bunch of games tonight, and everyone will have played a preseason game by the end of Saturday. There's talk about how that new kickoff rule that came into the NFL the other year has kind of shortened the field and made it to where there's actually a few less yards per game, and you start off with the ball in good field position after these touchdown drives. Well, again, there's not a whole lot you can do about that as a kickoff unit in the National Football League, but there's still a lot wider range of outcomes in college with still having the traditional kickoff and being able to pin someone inside the 20-yard line with great coverage. But then there's also the ability to have those explosive returns. So, you just have a little bit wider net to still be cast in the college game with how things are still done there. And then obviously, too, when you think of who plays on special teams and that sort of thing, it's always interesting. Each coach has a little different philosophy. Sometimes they get these great athletes out wide, whether they're offensive or defense. Sometimes when it's, when you are punting, you actually get a bunch of these defensive players out there to go out there and try to make tackles on the field. So you always have a small but noticeable change in those philosophies. So again, lesser talked about thing, and special teams is one of those issues where it may not cost you a game, but it could really hurt you in one, or it could really help you. It could really hurt the other team, and be interested to see how Auburn improves in a couple of those facets, and then if Alex McPherson can get some range back to where he's comfortable from outside of 50 yards. But a couple minutes from now, we'll take a break. We will get to Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Observer. Brooks, I'm hoping you ask him a question or two about food, because
always.
Heck, we could go with what we've had in the office. We probably should show that off to people, the type of Oreos.
Oh yeah,
that we've been
still
snacking on.
Yeah.
I don't know what his food adventures were in Tampa, but could relate to those a little bit. Lots to talk about with Ferg too, because again, Auburn basketball was able to play a couple of games very early. Not used to a college basketball team getting many runs in August against other competition, but you get those international trips, I think, once every 3 years or something like that. One every, I don't think it's every other year, but it's one every 3 years, something there. And so Auburn's taking that opportunity to go to Greece, and be curious to see if Ferg found anything noteworthy in that. But again, we'll have Ferg on here in a couple minutes, a little bit later. Talk about the Jaden Daniels situation, update Young Jackson Coyven, and 5 o'clock hour today, again, preview Alabama on the SEC side of things as we get to team number 6 in the preseason SEC media poll. But we're going to take our first time out of the program today. Again, on the other side of this break, Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Observer. This is the Thursday edition of Sports Call on Tiger 95.9.
We need a timeout. Sports Call will be back after this quick break.
Weather brought to you by Auburn University Credit Union. Looking for the best credit card rate in town? The rate on Auburn University Credit Union's MasterCard starts at 7.9% APR. That's right, 7.9% APR. For more information or to apply, visit one of their 3 locations or myaucu.org. Annual percentage rate. Auburn University Credit Union is an equal opportunity lender.
Today we'll see high temperatures in the mid-90s across the area. The rain chance is improving just a little bit, around a third of the area. Seeing some scattered showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon hours. Lows will be in the mid-70s. Friday, much of the same. Highs, again, mid-90s. So for those that don't see any rain, heat index values will be in the 105 range. We will see lows overnight in the low mid-70s. Again, that coverage area of rain chances about a 1 in 3 chance once again. I'm Ryan Lavoie for your Tiger Communications weather update.
Looking for great deals while supporting a great cause? Visit Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store, conveniently located on East University behind Zaxby's. We're open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 until 5 with a huge selection of furniture, clothing for the whole family, books, home decor, and so much more. Have items to donate? We'll gladly accept donations at the back of the store from 10 until 4. Shop, donate, and make a difference at Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store, where every purchase helps change lives.
You remember the burgers, you remember the buns, you even remember the ice, but you forgot the beer? Rookie mistake. Save the cookout by showing up with Blue Moon Belgian White. Its crisp, refreshing taste with Valencia orange peel and that iconic orange garnish turns an oops into an awesome. Because when the beer's this good, people tend to forget what you forgot in the first place. Blue Moon Belgian White, made brighter. Please enjoy responsibly.
TK's Convenience Stores are your one-stop shop from Auburn to the Lake and Tallahassee to Tuskegee. Offering friendly service and a clean environment, there is sure to be a TK's located near you. Stop by on your way to and from work or school and pick up everything you need, from beer, soft drinks, and fresh hot coffee to food, snacks, and ice cream. Plus, automotive and household products, pet food, and an ATM in every store. Just look for the orange and blue Starburst sign and stop by your local TK store today. TK's Convenience Stores, they're your one-stop shop.
All right, Mrs. Johnson, we're ready to start building your new deck.
I can't wait, but you contacted 811 before digging, right?
We're contractors. We know where everything's buried.
Boss, we got a problem over here.
Nearly 200,000 times each year, lives are put at risk when buried power, water, internet, natural gas, and other utility lines are damaged by digging. Whether homeowner or contractor, visit 811beforeyoudig.com. Every dig, every time.
A message from the Common Ground Alliance.
From the very beginning in 1907, Auburn Bank's mission has been to promote our community, see businesses flourish, and improve the livelihoods of local citizens. We have operated a simple and straightforward business model built on a foundation of sound business decisions and a caring response. Our local team stands ready to discuss your financial needs and goals. Auburn Bank, champions of you. Member FDIC. Online at auburnbank.com.
Hey everybody, this is Brandon Maxwell with Fairway Auto Brokers. Back to school deals are here and you deserve a new ride. With over 150 of the finest pre-owned vehicles in stock, we make car buying fun and easy for the whole family. As Lee County's #1 place to buy a pre-owned vehicle, come see why Fairway is the difference. Visit us at www.fab-auto.com or stop by today at 1777 East Glen Avenue in Auburn, Alabama.
The Atlanta Falcons are back in the hunt for a playoff berth, and you can come along for the ride. Tune in to your exclusive home in East Alabama for the Falcons. Tiger 95.9 all season long for all the hard-hitting action.
Still looking left, checks it back across the middle, intercepted on the backside. Jesse Bates, 20, 15, 10, 5, house call. Touchdown Atlanta. Jesse Bates has a pick six.
This new-look team has their eyes set on the playoffs, and you don't want to miss a single second of the action.
And here goes Bijan Robinson, 30, 35, 40, midfield. It's a foot race. Robinson 30, 15, 10, 5, house call. Are you serious? Oh, my goodness. He just went 93.
For a complete schedule of broadcasts, make sure to visit our website, thetiger.fm.
Snap spot. It is good. Fly home safely. Atlanta wins.
It's another action-packed season of Atlanta Falcons football on Tiger 95.9.
Brought to you locally by Sons Ford, May Refrigeration, Waldo's Chicken and Beer, Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store, and Tiger Iron Gym.
Now, back to the multi-time Abby Award-winning Sports Call.
Welcome back. This is the Thursday edition of Sports Call, Tiger 95.9. Ryan Lavoie, Brooks Childress, and Jack Myrick with you here today. And we are now pleased to go to the Sports Call phone line. We are closer and closer to the start of football season, and we now welcome on Justin Ferguson to tell us all about it. Justin, great to be catching up with you again. How are you doing today?
I'm all right. How are y'all?
Doing very well. So we will start with the first couple weeks here of fall practice, Ferg, and before we get into the nuts and bolts and some of the individual players, I'm just curious, again, just structurally, the first couple of weeks, comparing what the media has gotten to see and just versus all the recent coaches, not just Hugh Freeze, but Brian Harsin, Gus Malzahn, just what has the media kind of been able to see in comparison, and has it differed at all?
Yeah, I mean, it's good viewing windows. We get a few of them each week. About the first 3 periods or so of practice, about a half hour. Sometimes you get a little bit more. Sometimes it goes by a little bit quicker. Like on Wednesday they had a surprise kind of impromptu 11-on-11 drill that we got to see, which meant practice, our viewing window got to go a little bit longer. So, and then we're getting a ton of interviews as well after practice with a lot of different coaches, a lot of different players. So, there have been some times in years past where, like under Freeze, you might have gotten a whole practice if you wanted to, or, a really extended period. Haven't had that. It's been more structured and kind of regimented like that for Alex Golesh, but it is still a lot of access, especially compared to a lot of SEC schools. So it's been good.
So when we're talking about some of these individuals that are standing out, I think of a litany of players that Auburn has tried to get on the offensive side of the ball from South Florida, and particularly these wide receivers, and Keyshawn Singleton, Chaz Nimrod, and Jeremiah Coger. The list goes on. And I think that looking back in the past without Golesh, going to be kind of hard to call everyone, quote, starters, or be able to know exactly the amount of reps they would get in the regular season. But what are you sensing in terms of the depth that they have at that position and how much that they want to use that depth?
Yeah, they want to go 6 deep at wide receiver, and that's basically 2 deep at every position. You got the X and the Y and the F in the slot, the X and the Z and the F in the slot. So I feel like you feel pretty good about 5 right now. I would expect Keyshawn Singleton and Sam Turner maybe, or Brian Williams. I think that's the real competition there at that X spot. Z's interesting. It could be, Chaz Nimrod and Jeremiah Coger. I think Nimrod could go to the inside as well. We've seen him play in the slot a decent bit, so that's a big one. But those are the kind of guys you're looking there at the Z. And then in the slot, it's been the freshman Deshaun Spencer, and then Christian Neptune, who transferred over from USF as well. So that would probably be my 6 that I would take. And really, I think Turner and Williams is kind of the fight for that 6th spot on the outside to kind of round out that 2 deep. So there is depth. It's a group that's got a handful of guys that were in this offense before, have played with Byron Brown, have that connection. So I think that's going to be able to help Auburn kind of hit the ground running with this offense through the air. But they needed more guys to kind of step up with them. Deshaun Spencer's definitely done that, being a really impressive freshman. And I think, either Turner or Williams are the ones that's like, it could be both of those guys. You just need a little bit more there to step up and kind of round out the depth that you've got in that wide receiver room.
Justin, I do it every year. I do it almost every time we speak during football season. I got to ask, you mentioned Byron Brown there and his relationship with these wide receivers. What have you seen from him in these periods of practice? Because it felt like in the spring there was a lot of folks trying to make a big deal about the throwing motion. We have not heard a lot about that chatter in the fall camps here.
No, I mean it is what it is, man. He threw for 3,000 yards last year, and I mean if he wanted to throw it behind his head and bounce it off of his face mask and get it to him, it doesn't matter. It's just like you kind of, if it works, it works, especially at this point in your career. So I think I think Byron Brown's done a really, really good job. We did see him throw a really good deep ball for a touchdown to Jeremiah Coger in that 11-on-11 period yesterday. I watched him a decent bit at practice today. Was really sharp. Only remember a couple of incompletions that he threw that whole time. I think when he really is kind of getting that ball with that velocity going on those intermediate passes and those short passes, I think that's where he can really kind of shine. Sometimes he may have a tendency to kind of let it float a little bit, put a little too much touch, a little too much air on it, kind of get away from him. That deep ball has been rock solid, though. He was one of the best deep ball passers in college football last season. And I think we've already seen some of that in fall camp where he's kind of really showcased that. Yeah, he's looked good. And, I think a lot of people have said this spring, it was a new environment. Yes, it was the same offense. Yes, it was a lot of the same players, but having to learn and kind of adapt and get used to it. Now that he's been at Auburn for, almost 8 months now, you saw him over the summer and then now here in fall camp really, I think, kind of take charge and take ownership of this offense even more. He's a guy who's playing with a lot of confidence right now and is really, the unquestioned leader of this offense. And that's something that Auburn desperately needs to have because it's the biggest thing that's held them back in this streak of losing seasons is just inadequate quarterback play. I'm not saying Byron Brown's going to come in and put up the exact same numbers he did at USF at Auburn to do that in the SEC. But what I will say is you feel a lot better about him coming into this than you may have had in the years past because instead of a guy that's a reclamation project or trying to bounce back, no, you're getting a guy who was one of the best quarterbacks in college football last season, and he's on the upswing. And it's been a while since Auburn's had that.
Now, Justin, let's talk about the guys protecting Byron Brown. Have you seen, much development from that group as they, continue to get healthy with Stanton Ramel? But that seems to be the big concern I think a lot of people have around this offense is that offensive line holding up and, being able to protect Brown. What have you seen from fall camp from the offensive line?
I think it's a group that's continuing to work. I think people need to be realistic about this offensive line and realize, in this day and age in college football, you need experience, you need chemistry, you need that continuity to build a really great offensive line. You couldn't do that this year because the roster reset so much, so you're just having to make the best of what you got. And so I think there's some guy it's good to have Cole Best be the leader at that center spot because he knows how to run this offense up front, and he's done a really good job of it. I think Cole Skinner being a guy that's kind of emerged as probably the dude to beat right now at right guard, who also played in this offense has kind of helped you guys stability. Joe Simmons has been rock solid at the left tackle spot, kind of made that spot his. Ramil, as long as he's healthy, he'll probably be your right tackle. They're just being careful with him at times because they just want to get into the season healthy. So really left guard's really the only one where I think that you're kind of up for grabs in terms of a position battle. Garrett Plaza is the name that you've seen and heard about the most. However, this week, Jacob Strand, the Oregon State transfer, has been kind of a swing guy between left tackle and left guard. He's made a push there. They got some other guards, who have gotten in the mix as well. But, this is an offensive line that, again, don't expect miracles from this group. But you're also talking about Auburn hadn't been great on the offensive line the last few seasons. You don't have a ton of continuity and you don't have a ton of elite all SEC type of talent on that offensive line. But what you do have is a bunch of dudes, I think, that are hungry to prove themselves at this level. And if they can kind of get that chemistry together and that cohesiveness and play in this offense and really get it clicking with the pace they want to do, I'm not saying Auburn's going to have a great offensive line this season, but they could be an improved offensive line just because I think this offense is built to kind of hide some of their weaknesses, but also play to their strengths, especially with the fact that you've got several transfers up front that are kind of road graders, really tough, mean, angry type of run blocking talents. Well, that's obviously something you're going to want to do in this offense. You're going to lean on and not necessarily open them up as much in the pass protection game where you may need a little bit more of that communication, a little bit more of that continuity.
Of course, one of the most noteworthy things Auburn is trying to replace off last year's team is Keldrick Falk, and then even his buddy Kieron Crawford on the other side of that line of scrimmage. And that's a lot of production and ability to replace up front, Ferg. And I wonder, as Deshaun Womack and Jared Smith in particular try to go at those positions, what are your expectations for them, and just one or the other taking a lead in terms of being the most productive, the most important guy up front?
I mean, you can go either way with those guys. I think they're both bringing something similar to the table, and the fact that both of them are really supremely talented guys. Both of them are former 5-stars. I think Womack's been a guy that at LSU and at Ole Miss has shown flashes. He's just never been kind of that every down starter. I think Auburn's going to give him the opportunities to be the lead dog in that as an edge rusher, and that's going to be something that we'll see how he reacts to and how he produces there. I think Jared Smith continues to be super impressive just because he's got a bunch of stuff that you can't teach. He's tall, he's long, he's athletic, and he had a great spring, and he's had a good fall camp following up on that. So, I mean, I think the talent's there for these guys. It's just, it's not proven at a super high level of like these are, elite, sack guys, tackles for loss guys who have gotten like all this production over the course of their career. They've gotten some. They just haven't been the guy yet. And so until you get to see how they handle being the guy, there were definitely going to be question marks. But these guys are really talented. They've had to kind of step up and lead that room because you've got, Nate Johnson and Chris Murray who are in there. Both those guys are trying to get to full speed here in camp. You got some younger guys like a Joe Phillips or a JJ Falk or, Jaquez Wilkes. Is like, you like what you got. You like some of the buzz there with those guys, but they're really not proven at this point, and we'll see how they kind of step forward. So those two guys have to be the leaders. There's like no other choice but for them to be the leaders. So they've got the talent. This is going to be a matter of putting it all together this year.
Justin, shifting things now, Auburn basketball on their international trip to Greece, and they were in action this weekend. And I want to look at, what your thoughts were on the entire weekend so far, or this past weekend of Auburn basketball playing over there against some, real competition that's not yourself. And, just kind of highlight somebody that you think is proving that they are going to be a key member of this basketball team early.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it was an impressive trip. I mean, when you talk about that they played it safe with Owen Freeman and George Kimball not being guys, who've been banged up here in the summer, not testing them. You've got a case in Montes Rustancevic and Narcisse Ngoy, who neither one of those guys have been cleared yet by the NCAA. So Auburn decided to, not play them in that. So you're down 4 guys pretty much. That entire tour, and yet you score nearly 100 points and you win by 20 something in the first game. I think that was a really good sign. Now that second game, obviously, they played it safe with Tahad Pettiford, who had a little scare with an ankle. He should be fine though. Had a little scare with the ankle. I said, you know what, let's go ahead and call it off, pull him off the floor. Kevin Overton barely played in the second half at all. And Auburn battled and they fought. They just came up just short against that team. So, essentially you were down 6 of your best 8 players or so in that second half of the game. So I don't really read into that second result as much because they were really, really limited. But when they were closer to full strength, and even then we're missing some guys, played really well. You look at the shooting was where you wanted to be. The assist numbers were really good. I thought the defense looked much improved. And there with that rim protection of a guy like Bukia Boye being out there. And I think Auburn really got after him a good bit. So, good trip all in all for them. They got to do a lot of the team chemistry and team building stuff that you want to do as well. And so I think they got a lot accomplished there. They just need to, get those other guys healthy, get those other guys cleared by the NCAA, which they feel like is going to happen. It's just, Euros haven't been cleared yet, pretty much as a blanket thing by the NCAA. So everybody's kind of waiting on that right now. But yeah, it's in a good spot. And for guys that, I guess really stood out, it's got to be Thomas Dowd, right? Like Thomas Dowd had 23, 24 rebounds, something like that over these 2 games. He couldn't stop getting offensive boards in that first game. And he had about 4 or 5 offensive boards in the first half that all led to points. He dominated on the glass in that second game. And again, these are Eastern European guys that play a physical brand of basketball, that are tough, that play really good fundamentals. They're not, these are not, this is not a team that you feel like is going to be like weak in rebounding. And yet Thomas Dow went out there and just blew everybody out of the water in terms of his rebounding numbers. So that's the thing with him. He also shot the ball pretty well, especially in that first game. So I think that's the thing with Dowd is like, they don't need him to be a superstar in terms of carrying this team with his scoring or anything like that. But he's a immensely gifted rebounder, works really hard for it, really good kind of glue guy for you. And I think he's going to help you win ball games this year. And he was a huge reason why Auburn had a chance to win that second game, and also why they were able to kind of be very comfortable winning that first one.
Great conversation here with Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Observer. Now I want to talk to Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Grubserver here as we wrap up this interview. Justin, two-part question here very quickly is Tampa. You were there for a few days, as were we.
Yeah.
Best spot you ate at in Tampa. And then as an early season preview for football, Auburn's got a few road trips. Which road trip is the most underrated food spot?
I think for Tampa, I had there was a pizza place around the corner from my hotel that was New York style pizza. It's like two guys' names. I can't remember them off the top of my head. But it was just like what you would get from a New York pizza place, like by the slice, just kind of in and out kind of place. Very, very good. They import their water from New York, which, people in New York say like the New York water makes the difference for like pizza dough and bagels and stuff like that. So they go the extra mile, and it was pretty well priced. Like I felt like I got a good deal, good value for it. So that was my favorite meal in Tampa. Most underrated trip that Auburn goes on this year. It's you can't call Oxford underrated at this point for food, but it is one of the best. You like that there. I'm not as crazy about Knoxville. I think it's just really big. It's kind of the problem I have from time to time there. And so I haven't been able to kind of dive in as much. Athens is always good. Tuscaloosa is kind of there. But I will say underrated wise, I think Starkville's a good trip for food. Starkville's not a fun trip if you're like looking to do a lot of stuff, or like, have that kind of like, it's not Oxford, it's not Athens, it's not an Auburn, it's not anything like that. In terms of just kind of like stuff to do and being entertaining. It's very small, very rural. But there are several restaurants in Starkville that are fantastic. And I would say my favorite one in downtown Starkville, is a place called Restaurant Tyler. Very, very good stuff. Probably the closest comparison I think for here. It's very much kind of like a Hound acre-ish type of maybe somewhere in that ballpark. Probably more Hound than anything, but really, really good stuff. And it is one of my favorite places to eat at the SEC. And so not a lot of people have a whole lot of positive stuff to say about Starkville in terms of like a trip, but I think you can eat really well in Starkville.
I'll save this for when we do talk Starkville, because I'll ask you again about this when we get to the Starkville week. But there's a barbecue spot in Starkville that I am in love with.
Little Dewey's?
You took it out of my mouth. Yep.
Yeah. No, Little Dewey's is great. That's a top, at least a top 3 place in Starkville for sure. Yeah, no, it's that one's a pretty good spot. So yeah, Starkville's good. I mean, and then I would say the other thing about Starkville, if you've never done it before, if you ever go to Starkville for a game, get there early, or if you're on campus, go to the dairy store, go to the cheese store. I'm serious, buy the Mississippi State cheese. They have this special kind of cheese that they make there that's like, I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but it comes in a big like wax ball, and it's kind of like a creamier, it's like a creamier and easier to eat type of cheddar, like sharp cheddar. It's very, very good. And the ice cream in Starkville is always good too. So like, if you've never been to Starkville, get there early, go to the dairy store, buy some cheese, buy some ice cream. Like, it's really, really good.
Man, football and food, we are so close to the season getting going. He is Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Observer. Justin, we've appreciated catching up with you. What you got going on with the Observer right now?
Yeah, a whole lot of practice notes right now. So if you check out the Observer right now, today we had a rundown of everything we saw and heard from practice today. Same thing for yesterday. Did a podcast that came out this morning as well, talking about fall camp so far. Did a breakdown of Auburn's running backs and wide receiver rotations, the battles there. Talked about Auburn's safeties and kind of where they stand right now, because that's been a very interesting position group so far in camp. And then we'll have tomorrow Auburn's going to scrimmage in Jordan-Hare Stadium. We're not going to be able to watch that, but we're going to talk to Alex Golesh afterwards. And between you and me, Alex Golesh is very, very transparent about what happens in scrimmages and in practices. So should get a lot of information from that. We'll have a newsletter on that tomorrow afternoon as well. So if you want the latest of everything going on with Auburn football here in fall camp, we did a little basketball over the weekend as well. You want to check that out, go to auburnobserver.com, sign up there. $70 a year or $7 a month. So if you get that annual subscription, you save a couple bucks, or save a couple months for free. You get a couple months for free on that. So it's a great time to jump on board. We've got a ton of stuff, and everything we do gets sent to your email inbox as soon as it drops. So at this time of year, when practices are in the morning and we're writing stuff in the afternoon, stuff's dropping at all different times. So it's good to sign up for the Observer, and as soon as it goes, it's right there in your email inbox, so you can read it whenever you can.
Awesome stuff. Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Observer today on Sports Call. Again, we appreciate the time, Ferg, and look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Yep. Yeah.
That is Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Observer with us today on Sports Call. Also making us hungry. I didn't say it today, but again, I think we're rebranding the Fun with Ferg that we usually JJ would ask a question at the end of the conversation with Ferg. I think we're rebranding it to Food with Ferg.
It's such an easy topic. It's so good.
It is.
You mentioned it, football and food. That's like they're synonymous with each other.
Absolutely. All right. We are out of time for hour number 1 of the program. Coming up in hour number 2, we will look into the Jaden Daniels situation, why that's catching a lot of eyeballs in the college football world. A little bit later, we'll talk Alabama and much more. This is the Thursday edition of Sports Call, live on Tiger 95.9.
One hour of our show is in the books. We've got more to come. Stay tuned for another hour of Sports Call right after the break.
Frederick Dean Funeral Home and Crematory is here for you when you need us. With locations in Lee, Chambers, and Tallapoosa counties, serving the people of East Alabama and West Georgia since 1900. A family-owned and operated business, skip the hassle of the big corporate mortuaries. Our kind, compassionate team members are standing by to assist your family in the hardest of times. An on-site crematory, private cemetery, and a choice of facilities makes Frederick Dean unique. Visit us at frederickdean.com.
Looking for the perfect lunch or dinner? Make it easy and delicious with Honey Baked Ham. Enjoy savory crafted sandwiches like the Ham Classic, Barbecue Smoked Stacker, or the Tavern Club, as well as a variety of fresh, crisp, delicious salads. Every bite is a taste of quality at Honey Baked Ham Company. Whether it's a leisurely lunch or something quick for dinner, Honey Baked Ham has you covered. Stop by the Honey Baked Ham Company and get your ham on. Honey Baked Ham, located at 1451 Gateway Drive in Opelika.
Ham bone, ham bone, ham bone.
Looking for a new fitness home? Look no further than Tiger Iron Gym in Auburn. Our fitness area spans over 20,000 square feet, providing ample space for all your workout needs. Featuring an AstroTurf training area, an extensive range of cardio equipment that will get your heart pumping, and we are one of the largest 24-hour free weight gyms in America. Worried about parking? Don't. We have you covered with tons of parking spaces so you can focus on your workout. And we are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year to fit your busy schedule. Plus, we're locally owned and operated, not some big corporate gym. And you can experience all of this for just $29.99 a month with no contract. Join us today and take charge of your fitness goals. Tiger Iron Gym, South College Street in Auburn.
Can we go see a rocket in a giant cave?
Yes.
Are we going to see a battleship? Oh, an aquarium? And some flowers?
Yes, sweetie. The Alabama All-in-One Ticket makes it easy to say yes to all of Alabama's best sights and attractions. Plus, you'll save time and money deciding what's next. Buy your ticket at alabama.travel. The Alabama All-in-One Ticket. One ticket, all the yes in Sweet Home, Alabama. Sponsored by the Alabama Tourism Department, the ABA, and the station.
We all know Jimmy's Car Stereo in Auburn has you covered when it comes to car stereos, accessories, and expert installation. But did you know Jimmy's is also your go-to spot for ATV and UTV gear? They've got 32-inch sassies, 3,500, 4,500, and 6,000-pound winches, belts, lighting, whips, laser lights, side mirrors, bumpers, phone holders, and rear mirrors. So whether you're upgrading your ride, decking out your ATV or UTV, or adding audio to your boat, Jimmy's has the gear and the know-how to make it happen. Jimmy's Car Stereo in Auburn. If it rolls, rides, or floats, Jimmy's makes it sound better.
Hey Auburn, why stress about dinner tonight? Just cruise down South College Street and roll through the drive-thru at Waldo's Chicken and Beer. Grab the Feed the Flock meal. Yeah, we're talking 12 crispy tenders, warm cheesy biscuits, fresh coleslaw, and not one, but 2 delicious sides. Mac and cheese, collards, wedges, you pick your groove. And don't forget, 6 sauces to mix, match, and dunk your way to flavor heaven. Skip the cooking, feed the whole crew, and keep your night smooth. Waldo's Chicken and Beer, South College Street in Auburn. Drive through and dig in.
Looking for a new fitness home? Look no further than Tiger Iron Gym in Auburn. Our fitness area spans over 20,000 square feet, providing ample space for all your workout needs. Featuring an AstroTurf training area, an extensive range of cardio equipment that will get your heart pumping, and we are one of the largest 24-hour free weight gyms in America. Worried about parking? Don't. We have you covered with tons of parking spaces so you can focus on your workout. And we are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year to fit your busy schedule. Plus, we're locally owned and operated, not some big corporate gym. And you can experience all of this for just $29.99 a month with no contract. Join us today and take charge of your fitness goals. Tiger Iron Gym, South College Street in Auburn.
Looking for great deals while supporting a great cause? Visit Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store, conveniently located on East University behind Zaxby's. We're open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 until 5 with a huge selection of furniture, clothing for the whole family, books, home decor, and so much more. Have items to donate? We'll gladly accept donations at the back of the store from 10 until 4. Shop, donate, and make a difference at Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store, where every purchase helps change lives.
It's heating up at Sons Ford in Auburn with the hottest sale of the year. Now's the time to save big on a huge selection of new Ford trucks, SUVs, and cars. Whether you're looking for a rugged F-150, a family-friendly Explorer, or a fuel-efficient Escape, you'll find incredible deals waiting for you. Don't let these summer savings pass you by. Visit Sons Ford in Auburn today or shop online at sonsford.com and pick the Ford you've been wanting at a price you'll love. Sons Ford in Auburn, where the hottest deals of the year are happening now.
When it comes to important money matters, you matter most. At Mid-South Bank, we're a place for you to put your loyalty and trust. That's why we offer products and services to make your banking chores easy and convenient for both your business and your personal needs. Come in today at 519 East Glen Avenue or visit bankmidsouth.com to find out what the friendliest, most helpful bank in town can do for you. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
TK's convenience stores have a brand new look. That's right. Look for the red, white, and blue. It's Arco, American-owned top-tier gasoline, now at select TK's locations. Need great gas at a great price? TK's and Arco have you covered with the best price gas in town. American-made fuel for you and your family. So roll into your neighborhood TK's today, where TK's and Arco are as American as apple pie. When the game is on the line, heroes rise, and off the field, real heroes deserve their moment too. Game Day for Heroes is all about giving back, providing unforgettable game day experiences to the brave men and women who've served our great nation. It's more than just tickets. It's about saving lives, restoring families, building tomorrow, and honoring our heroes. You can help make a difference. For more information or to donate tickets, visit GameDayForHeroes.org. Game Day for Heroes, because those who serve deserve a game day they'll never forget.
You're listening to Sports Call on Tiger 95.9 FM, WTGZ Tuskegee, Auburn.
Now, it's time for your Atlanta Braves morning update, presented by Tidal Wave Auto Spa. Get clean car happy at any of the 250-plus Tidal Wave Auto Spa locations today.
Braves bomb the Mets and take the series. I'm Barrett Salee, and this is your Braves Radio Network morning update.
Tidal Wave Auto Spa is the official car wash of the Atlanta Braves and your go-to car wash destination all season long. Visit TidalWaveAutoSpa.com to find a location nearest you.
Lane Thomas hit his first home run as an Atlanta Brave, and then Mike Yastrzemski and Austin Riley go back-to-back as the Braves top the Mets 6-3 and take the 3-game series. Austin Riley, 3 for 4 on the night. Stay hot, kid. But the story of the day, Tyler Mahle, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, and 7 strikeouts. I think it's safe to say of all the trade deadline acquisitions around Major League Baseball, Tyler Mahle is up there with some of the best. The Braves now 9.5 games ahead of the Philadelphia Phillies. Off day today, and then the Diamondbacks come into town. Brandon Pfaadt will be on the mound for the Snakes. He's 6-1. It's a 3.36 ERA, 24 walks and 54 strikeouts. It'll be the ace, Chris Sale, on for the Braves. He's 12-7 with a 2.20 ERA, 151 strikeouts. For leadoff show at 6 and first pitch between the Braves and the Diamondbacks, 7:15 Eastern, 6:15 Central. You can hear all of it on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
You're listening to Sports Call on Tiger 95.9 FM, WTGZ Tuskegee, Auburn. Since 1995, Alabama's sports talk leader, Tiger Communications, proudly presents Sports Call. It's time to join our Sports Call crew as they discuss the latest headlines and happenings around Auburn and the entire sports world. To be part of the show, give us a call at 334-887-3401 locally or toll free at 1-888-9-TIGER-9. We're taking phone calls all show long and want to talk about whatever you've got on your mind. And now, coming to you live from the loveliest village on the plains, Auburn's first and Auburn's favorite sports talk show, Sports Call.
Second hour of Sports Call beginning right now. Tiger 95.9, the Tiger.fm, the Tiger Communications app, and streaming live on Facebook and YouTube at Sports Call Auburn. We appreciate you however you are tuning in to Auburn's first and Auburn's favorite sports talk show, including after the fact on the Sports Call podcast. Again, want to bring your attention to something our friends at Waldo's Chicken and Beer are doing next Tuesday. From 4 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., 10% of all proceeds are going to go to the Down South Cancer Foundation. If you say Down South Cancer Foundation, when you check out dine-in or to-go orders, every order going to count. And again, this is to help fund locally the families in need of treatment. And again, you just need anything battling cancer. So 10% of every order to the Down South Cancer Foundation at Waldo's Chicken Beer next Tuesday, 4 p.m. to 8:30, if you say Down South Cancer Foundation with your order. All right. Again, you just heard from Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Observer in the first hour. Again, coming up a little bit later, we'll be on to the preview of number 6 in the preseason SEC media poll, which is Alabama. We'll update you on Jackson Coyven here a little while. Also, he played much earlier today, but they are still finishing up at the FedEx St. Jude Championship in Memphis. But for now, let's get to the Sports Call phone line to open up hour number 2, 334-887-3401 locally, or toll free 1-888-9-TIGER-9.
Ward Dam Steve.
Retired Ward Dam Steve joins us. Steve, how are you doing today?
Well, I was doing okay until I decided to put you guys on the air. I'm watching right now. And you started talking about food and what time you eat food. And so then I heard Justin Ferguson talking about food. So now I've got a bag of Cheetos opened up, which I wouldn't plan on doing, and now I'm eating.
Well, we're sorry we were a bad influence on you today.
You know, bad habits just escalate with me when I get other people to joining me in. So with that said, guys, thanks for my attempts at humor there. Let's get to it. I enjoyed hearing Justin's comments. He pretty much confirmed a lot of the stuff that I'm reading right now, just real quickly from what we're hearing. Extra nuggets from Auburn Fall Camp from the 247 staff, and some stuff has to do with Byron Brown. And they're saying right now that we're hearing that Brian is just he has the confidence and belief in him from his teammates. That was the general consensus from the writers about that. And he also, where they also talked about one of the most interesting things they said is Morgan State transfer Jacob Strand. And he said, talking from people in the inside of the program, he potentially could be a starter on offensive line. Then he, let's say, went on and talked about some other position people. Harris Broadenham, he says, healthy. Staying healthy is a key for Jake Johnson. Xavier Newsom, they said he's an intriguing guy on offense. Howard transfer. Let's see. Albert Henderson. You guys haven't talked about him that I know of, and I had forgotten about the gentleman. He was once one of our running backs, was he not?
Well, yeah, and he still is a running back on the team. No, we have not really discussed him much because, we think that he's probably 4th or 5th, maybe even 6th on the depth chart.
Yeah. Well, the reason I brought him up, because these are the kind of players that I hope we get more and more of, to play at Auburn and to really want to remain at Auburn, because it says here that he chose to stay at Auburn and work harder rather than leaving and looking elsewhere for playing time. And it says you can see that in apparently the way his body has improved, physical stature and everything. And so they're suggesting that he might, in fact, he even said this, talking about Alvin, that he'd be willing to be on special teams and maybe be on the return kick for return along with Pleasant. Guys, have you heard anything on that?
Yeah, I do think special teams would be a role. Anytime you look deeper into the depth chart at those guys, and granted, it's not like the NFL where you have to have your backups do that. To make the 53-man roster in the NFL, if you're not going to start or play your primary position, you got to be on special teams typically. So it's not that it has to be that way, but when you do have a lot of athletic bodies that you value, you do look for them to get opportunities. And as I alluded to, I just it's not a discredit to Alvin, but I just think Auburn has built a really, really quality running back room. And I don't see him beating out, Bryson Washington, obviously Jeremiah Cobb, or really even Omar Mabson at this point. So that's 3.
Well, I'm going to ask you, Ryan, about that.
Yeah.
Do you think it'll be Mabson or Washington?
Well, I think that's debatable. I think that somewhat depends on what Bryson Washington can do in terms of getting in shape, because I think the intent was Bryson Washington to be the number 2. And then we heard over the summer that they did not like the shape that he was in. But running back coach Larry Porter did already talk yesterday, I believe it was, to the media, that he's already seen Bryson come around, and he said you're going to hear more and more about him as we move through the month. So I don't have a great feel for it. Again, I think that they definitely intended Bryson to have it, and if he's in shape, I think they might give him the first opportunity to be the number 2 back. But they're going to play 3. They'll play 3 regardless of how that shakes out. And that's where I was just kind of saying with Alvin, I'm not going to guarantee they play 4. And even if they did play 4, you're talking only a couple of reps, and I'm not sure, quite frankly, that Alvin would win the 4th job, because they might go Nakai Davenport, the South Florida transfer. They might even go Tate Meadows, the Troy transfer. I think 4, 5, and 6 are all up for grabs and debatable. So, again, I think it's all good news. I don't think that it's, it's going to suck for whoever doesn't win these jobs. I get it. But I do think they're very competitive in the good type of way.
Okay. Well, I only brought his name up because, I remembered him, hadn't heard about him very much. And then when I read his comments that he's willing to do whatever it takes to help the team, those are the kind of people that, I hope we get more of them. Moving on just real quickly, guys, Jeremiah Kroger is talked about here at the very end of their comments. And they're saying that Byron really likes Kroger. Was he a go-to receiver at USF with Byron? Or do you know?
Yeah, so Kroger, not the grocery store, but Kroger, yeah. So he really, in some ways, was their number 2 receiver. You could go him or Chaz Nimrod, but Nimrod did not play all season long. So when he was out, it was Kroger. When they were both in, it was more Nimrod. But Kroger ended up having, I think, 500, almost 600 yards, and as a freshman, I think there's a world where he is absolutely a huge part of what they're doing, if not 1A and 1B with Keyshawn Singleton. So I think that we're hearing he likes Kroger a lot, and I think there's a lot of potential there.
Okay, all right. I enjoy you guys, and I don't even have a clue right now of how difficult, what kind of training you've gone through to do what you do, because you make it seem real smooth and seamless and easy. But I doubt that it really is, even though you make it look like that. And that's to me a commendation to how well you guys do this. And the reason I bring this up is because I wanted to see if you might consider this proposal as a maybe I don't know, a perk or a marketing for the show. But this came to my attention again from who? The Athletic, and by Zach Powell. I thought, well, that's interesting. It said a retiree won an auction to join the Phillies radio booth and crushed it. Did you happen to read that?
I watched it, or I listened to it, I should say. Yes.
Lewis Kalb.
Yep. He did a tremendous job. Both innings.
Apparently, as you know, he had a previous stint doing play-by-play for recreational school league games.
I had not known the backstory, but it sounded like someone that had done that before. I mean, there was just no way you waltz in like that and are that smooth and that good, quite frankly.
Well, he goes on to say, guys, he's 73 years old, retired, and he paid $22,000 to get the opportunity to do this. $22,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's quite a bid there.
Yes, it is.
So anyway, I just thought throw that out there. I don't have $20,000 laying around to go to an auction bid, but I just thought, hey, maybe in the future you might want to consider that kind of a marketing perk for all the people listening to your show. All right, moving on. How about the freaks, college football freaks? According to the Athletic, have you seen their picks?
Deshaun Womack's one, and Byron Brown the other. I believe there's two on Auburn's roster. Those two.
No, well, I don't know about Auburn, but they just have, I guess, nationally. Their number one freak is South Carolina's wide receiver, Nick Harbor.
Fast as lightning, but a big dude. Yeah, he's athletically
6'3".
Yes, he is.
243 pounds.
Yeah.
How does he do that? 243 pounds.
I don't know, but it all moves quickly. Whether it's 243 or 203, it moves. It moves all the same.
And number two is another wide receiver from Ohio State, Jeremiah Smith.
Yep, awesome. Going to be first round pick, no doubt about it.
Okay. Number three in their freak list is, I can pronounce it, Amari Washington from Oregon, defensive tackle.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
Do you know his name?
Yeah, Amari. I haven't, watched him a ton, but Oregon does in general have some great defensive players.
Okay, I would just do two more and let it go. Number four is Jackson Cantwell from Miami, offensive tackle.
Sure. Good for the lineman.
I didn't know this. Oh, his father, I'm sorry. His father was a world-time champion and won the shot put. Okay, number five on their list is who? Jaden Woods, Florida Edge.
Okay. All right.
That's their, they had more than that, but just thought I'd throw those freaks out to you. Who do you think would make it on our list?
Yeah,
anybody?
Again, I think Byron Brown and Deshaun Womack. I mean, Womack is very physically gifted. I have lamented that he has not produced in an incredibly meaningful or consistent way, and that's actually something Justin Ferguson was talking about last hour. But he's very athletically gifted for his position. I do think Byron Brown, being as put together as he is at the quarterback position, but being so strong, but also fast. I mean, he's a freak in that way. I don't think any of the running backs are. I mean, Cobb's a good running back, but I don't think he's a physical freak. And, I think, Xavier Atkins is a heck of an athlete for sure, a heck of a football player, but I don't think Auburn. I think Auburn lost a couple. I think Cam Coleman's one of those that kind of would have fit that list too. But yeah, no, they still got a couple dudes though.
Okay, while you were making those comments, right, I was going down the list, and a Auburn person finally shows up on their list, number 27, Deshaun Womack.
Yeah.
He's at number 27.
Yeah, I thought I had seen that those two were included in that list. I have no idea how many names are on that list, but I thought I had heard that those two were on there.
Yeah, it's a long list. All right. So moving on, guys. This came to my attention about betting, and it comes from a website called Wealth Management. Well, what caught my attention was apparently people are using Kalshi and the poly markets to now, not for investing, for investing, for betting, and not just betting on outcomes of maybe political outcomes, but on games. And I know Congress is looking into this because I didn't think there's supposed to be a sports betting website, were they?
Yeah, the way that they are theoretically getting around it is that you're buying. It's like you're buying stocks in the performance, and the market moves with how many people are betting a certain outcome. So it really, I think functionality wise is the same thing as sports betting, but they have this technicality where you're buying shares basically in a performance or in an outcome. And again, I think that substantively it's the same, but again, that it's kind of window dressed a little bit.
Well, it's interesting that you made that analogy because they talk about it here. That says 26% of Gen Z investors born between 97 and 2007, they now treat these, I call them betting websites anyway. They treat Kalshi and poly markets as sports betting as a deliberate financial plan and investment. How about that? You're going to bet your money on teams and outcomes as an investment?
Yeah, I mean, that's where they're kind of saying, "Hey, stock market of a sporting outcome, right?" And again, same thing with it. I mean, I would have to think a little bit harder on all the differences between a regular, if you're just talking of stock and Apple, a stock and insert company here versus trying to trade these performances. But I mean, I do think that these are I think more risk related, at least if you're talking an individual. If you're talking, they always talk about diversifying portfolios when you talk about regular stock trading. And so, you usually, a lot of people will do that instead of trade one single stock. But usually when you're talking about a sporting event, you're talking about one single game. So in that way you can't diversify. Therefore it would be more risky. I don't know, like that, just trying to kind of talk through it. But yes, I mean, I don't think that it's a wise strategy. I mean, you're going to have to be really good at it. And you're going to have to do it a lot. Like you're going to have to sit there on your phone while the game's being played. Said, 12-yard run. I like their chances to score this drive, and how the lines would change and that sort of thing.
So if I was to use that kind of investor analogy, there's all these portfolios, right? So is a parlay now going to be your portfolio?
Yeah. I mean, I think so.
Oh, all right. So I have this, guys. I was wondering, okay, I know what our win total is from Vegas this year, 6.5.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, let me look at what was Indiana's win total last year. Do you recall, or do you remember what it was?
I don't. I know they were 11-1 the year prior, and I would think that they would still be rated pretty highly coming last year. So I think it'd probably be 9.5 or something like that. Maybe 10.5.
Yeah, you were pretty close. It was 8.5.
Oh, only 8.5. Okay.
Yeah. So they kind of low balled them, didn't they?
Yep, they did not get it right.
Okay, so that means hopefully they might be lowballing us.
Hopefully, but they've not been in the past, so they have been correct.
I know. All right, well, guys, that's it. I think I've rambled enough here, and with that said, my time is up. So I thank you always for your time. And if you ever need a backup, you guys get ill or sick, hey, just let me know a day ahead of time, and I'll travel up there, and I'll do my best to see if I can irritate the callers calling into the show.
There we go. And we will not charge $22,000. So that'll be the good news.
Thank you for that. I'll just give you a Chick-fil-A meal. How about that?
There you go.
All expenses paid.
Beautiful.
All right, guys. Have a safe afternoon and evening, and War Eagle.
War Eagle Steve, we appreciate it. That is retired War Dam Steve joining us on the Sports Call phone line. We're going to head to our first timeout of the 4 o'clock hour. Much more ahead on the Thursday edition of Sports Call Tiger 95.9.
Sports Call has been on the air since 1995.
Weather brought to you by Auburn University Credit Union. Tiger Rewards checking at Auburn University Credit Union gives you the tools to manage your credit, monitor for fraud, telehealth services, loan discounts, and more. Visit myaucu.org for more details. Federally insured by the NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Today, we'll see high temperatures in the mid-90s across the area. The rain chance is improving just a little bit, around a third of the area. Seeing some scattered showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon hours. Lows will be in the mid-70s. Friday, much of the same. Highs, again, mid-90s. So for those that don't see any rain, heat index values will be in the 105 range. We will see lows overnight in the low mid-70s. Again, that coverage area of rain chances about a 1 in 3 chance once again. I'm Ryan Lavoie for your Tiger Communications weather update.
On Saturdays, we all wear orange and blue, but every day, Auburn University Credit Union is proud to serve the people who make this community strong. Whether you're opening your first account, buying your first car, planning for your future, or growing your business, we're here for every chapter, because at Auburn University Credit Union, you're more than a customer. You're a member. You're an owner. Your family. Auburn University Credit Union, rooted in Auburn, committed to you. To learn more, visit myaucu.org. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal Opportunity Lender. NMLS number 530633.
Whether it's enjoying a night in with good friends and close family or having some fun in the great outdoors, don't forget to grab an ice-cold Coca-Cola from one of your 17 local TK's convenience stores. Every sip of an ice-cold, refreshing Coke helps make whatever you are doing memorable. With a variety of options to choose from, TK's has a Coke for every occasion. So stop by any one of your local 17 TK's convenience stores today and pick up an ice-cold Coca-Cola. TK's convenience stores, always there when you need us.
Some beers are made to blend in. Blue Moon Belgian White was brewed to stand out. Crafted with Valencia orange peel for a bright citrus taste and a smooth, refreshing finish, it's the perfect way to elevate any occasion. Served best with an orange garnish, every sip brings out its signature flavor. Whether you're unwinding after work or gathering with friends, reach for something a little brighter. Blue Moon Belgian White. Made brighter, please enjoy responsibly.
You'll use the radio in your car more than anything else. When buying a new car, make sure the AM/FM is simple, clear, and convenient.
Furnished by NAB and this station.
From the very beginning in 1907, Auburn Bank's mission has been to promote our community, see businesses flourish, and improve the livelihoods of local citizens. We have operated a simple and straightforward business model built on a foundation of sound business decisions and a caring response. Our local team stands ready to discuss your financial needs and goals. Auburn Bank, champions of you. Member FDIC. Online at auburnbank.com.
Now back to Auburn's first and Auburn's favorite sports talk show, Sports Call.
Welcome back. This is the Thursday edition of Sports Call, Tiger 95.9, the Tiger.fm, and the Tiger Communications app. Ryan Lavoie, Jack Myrick, and Brooks Childress with you here on this Thursday edition of the program. All right, so I've been teasing it a couple different times today. I do want to get into what's been going on with Jaden Daniels and LSU. Last night, Jaden Daniels and his team issued a cease and desist against LSU, which is not something you see every day or every year on a player and his former school. today coming out and demanding that they give him back, or I say give him back, but give him their copy of the Heisman Trophy. Now, again, if you're not familiar, when someone wins a Heisman Trophy, there are 2 trophies. There's one that goes to the player. There's also one for the school to display. And Jane Daniels has his. He's asking for the schools because essentially what we've gathered out of this was that Jaden Daniels is really upset that they are still using his uniform, that DJ Pickett, who's currently on LSU's roster, is getting to wear his number 5 jersey. Right now, for context, LSU has not officially retired Joe Burrow's jersey, but no one is currently wearing number 9. And it's really sparked this huge debate and conversation around, what should qualify as retiring a jersey for each school. I do think the general consensus is Jaden Daniels is looking like a bit of the bad guy here in this scenario. I think it's regrettable because, no matter what you're deciding to do with the jersey number or not, that's still one of your cherished players, someone that won a Heisman. But I did want to go through this real quickly, that I did a little research because I was trying to think, who can I compare Jaden Daniels to best? Because people are trying to compare Jaden Daniels and Joe Burrow, and I don't feel it's actually a great comparison, despite the fact they both played at LSU, because Joe Burrow won a national championship going undefeated. Jaden Daniels went 9-3 in the regular season, won the bowl game to go 10-3. So I went back to Robert Griffin III, who, go figure, had the exact same record, 9-3 at Baylor, 10-3 when you factor in an Alamo Bowl victory. So the question was, did Baylor retire Robert Griffin III's jersey? No, they did not. They have 2 number 10s playing on their team this very season that you will see in Atlanta, one on each side of the football. There's also other greats like Tim Tebow, does not have his jersey retired at the University of Florida. I also went into LSU. They do have a few jersey numbers retired, all from much longer ago, such as Billy Cannon, for example. I really tried to look neutrally here, and I don't see a great compelling argument from Jaden Daniels' side, and I don't think he's looking great in all this.
It's not at all. This actually happened, I want to say, last April. Let me get the date. Similar kind of situation that was kind of brought to light. 2025 April, where Lamar Jackson had filed against NASCAR legend, obviously Dale Earnhardt, because they were trying to get the number 8. Just to, I don't know if you ever saw that, but that was a conversation where Dale Jr. was trying to, apply for the stylized 8, the copyright for it to have that, not necessarily the number 8, but, the number 8 that is iconic with his car. And Lamar Jackson's team filed a trademark against that. And that kind of led to me kind of thinking, like, I wonder who's really behind that. Because obviously I don't think Lamar Jackson or Jaden Daniels is really behind it. I think this is these are definitely people in their ear being like, this is money that could be made. We're trying to protect a brand. That's such a big thing. It's not even just an NIL thing. That is a society thing nowadays, where you have social media people being like, it's a brand. They see themselves as a brand.
Yeah.
And that's what they try to sell and try to market to people. And so seeing that, it's really dumb. I don't know what the argument is going to be against that. I'm not, the most in depth when it comes to legal things of like what they're going to argue. Because I think another example you could use recently that's been brought up to conversation is like the fact, like how Buc-ee's has like gone after these companies for like just a mascot. I don't know if y'all have kept up with that. Brooks, you're kind of smiling a bit there.
There was a late night show that aired on weekends that
we can't say what
went after it.
Yeah, we can't. But yeah, like it's just crazy where you'll have people go after to keep this brand, and now you have the first instinct on the college football side of things where it's like, hey, that number 5 is LSU is mine or whatever. It's the schools. It's crazy to think that you're going to have a conversation in a courtroom potentially about why, you can't wear a number anymore because that it belonged to someone else. No, like at the end of the day, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think, college football is one of those things where it's like, it's really hard, I think, to have a number where you really look at it and you go, that's such and such. Like for Auburn, you can say Cam Newton number 2, but it's always gonna be Bo Jackson 34. 34, you see that Auburn jersey, you know who it is. But that's, that we're not talking about that. You're talking about Jaden Daniels. Yes, he won a Heisman, but as you made the comparison to RG3, it's like, it's not, something that's really even like, it's a number at the end of the day. It's a dumb conversation, and it's going to get very interesting though to see if that can make it to court, honestly. But still, wow, not a great look for Jaden Daniels and his team making that move. I think it's really dumb. Brooks, go ahead and tell me why I'm wrong.
I wasn't going to. Why would?
No, I want you to tell me why.
I wasn't going to. Why would you assume that?
Because you've already trademarked everything that you own. Brooks tries and everything.
I that's why I got in front of it. You see,
I started talking about in the office about how I felt about eating something. Brooks said you can't do that.
Yeah.
It's in legal papers.
It is. Yeah, I've got it taken down. There's a reason my Twitter/X profile is real.
That is true.
Because fakers.
I need to make a fake Brooksy account.
That'd be. Please don't. I think it's stupid. I think this is whoever has given Jaden Daniels the advice to go after this and pursue this is absolutely stupid. And if it's his idea, he's stupid for doing it. Because it is not. I mean, it is, but it's also not his number, as you said. It's his number, but it's also not his number. It wasn't even his full number in 2023 when he won the Heisman. There was a defensive player. It was LaTerrence Welch, the cornerback, was wearing number 5 on defense.
Yeah.
And you look at that 2023 roster, there are numerous guys wearing the same number on offense and defense. And that's just how sports are. That's how college football has become. I know there's a lot of folks that don't like same numbers, other different players wearing the same number, but if you're on the same side of the ball, go for it. Do it. I think there could be an argument to be made here for him to say, request that his number get retired or not being worn on offense. I think there can be an argument. No, hold on. There can be a relative argument. The problem is the one guy that's wearing 5 this year is on defense. He's not even playing on offense. He's not a defensive guy. And so I feel like if you want to make the argument for his number to be retired or for him to, say that, you shouldn't wear it, it's not even his side of the ball. It's not like another quarterback's wearing it. It's not another wide receiver. It's not a playmaker. It's a defensive guy. It's on the defensive side of the football. Each school has their own prerogatives, has their own guidelines of how they retire numbers, how they honor numbers. I mean, each program, every pro team, the Yankees retire a number basically every single year. That's why Aaron Judge is wearing 99. It's the Yankees honor so many have so many numbers retired. They do it one way. I'll go to Duke. Is it Duke or North Carolina that just honors numbers?
North Carolina. Well, North Carolina retires and honors. They've only retired a handful, but they have about 70 numbers that they've honored.
But it's like you honor a number. That's they have honored a number because at some point, if you are a great program, and LSU is typically a great program, if they were running this run, they would be retiring numbers just like you're going to run out of numbers at some point. Yeah. And so that's why you do like in North Carolina, you honor numbers and you do something along those lines. And so it's there. I could see an argument for him to say, maybe that my number shouldn't be going to an offensive player but in this world of college football and people wearing double numbers, he wasn't even the only number 5 on that Heisman year. Cam Newton wasn't the only number 2 on his Heisman year. There was Savage was number 2 on defense. Adrian Savage, something like that, was number 2
for
on
Auburn.
Yeah, during Cam Newton's 2010 year.
Or
I think. Hold on, let me go back and look.
It's Aaron Savage. Talking about number 2,
there was
on Cam's on the defense,
It's like there's not.
Is this Aaron?
Yeah, Aaron, Airon. And so it's not like that year. It's synonymous with Cam Newton, obviously, but there was another guy wearing it. It's and Auburn has taken that step to retire that number. Auburn did the step to retire that number. For years, though, there was nobody wearing 2. But Auburn took that step. If LSU hadn't taken that step to officially retire a number, that's their prerogative. They can let it if they want to let somebody wear it, they can.
Yeah, because I was about to say, like, I don't think there's an argument at all, because I would hate that for a player. I think that's just embarrassing if a player was to ask, hey, could you retire my number?
I mean, I'm not saying he needs to ask it, but I'm not saying that if there's a case to be made, I could make the argument that it could be retired on offense. But don't
even that. Just he didn't win a national championship.
What if he's returning punts though?
I mean, that's. I mean,
look, it's the school or the program or the team's decision to
jersey.
Make that, to say who they honor, what number they retire. I don't think the athlete should have really a say in that, because I mean, as I said, it's just let your legacy speak for itself. Don't make you can't write it yourself. You have to you out there and do it on the field. And look, he had a Heisman season. Yes, he was great at there. He didn't win a national championship. He didn't have them. Even competing for one at the end of the season. It's not like, it's crazy. I think honestly, if we see players do that, I know we've seen other players, have their numbers retired that probably shouldn't have had their numbers retired, but like, just let the schools decide that. It's not your decision. Like, cause that'd be crazy for me to be, if any of us here, let's say at a high school level, we just, cause, and when it was like, hey, I want retire my number. I don't think you should anyone should ever wear that number again, just because I had a great season.
So, well, and I think too, because oftentimes I feel like when you go through a team or organization's retire numbers, you really see the ones you question most are some of the oldest ones, because back then they did have different criteria and they weren't as forward thinking, because you guys have kind of alluded to it here, but we're going to be doing these things for a long, long time. And college football is probably the worst sport for numbers, because you have 100-man rosters. Like in the NFL, okay, we can all do math. Okay, you have 53-man rosters. So you got a bunch of numbers there that you can retire because you won't need duplicates. But when you've got 100 people, like, you're going to have to come up with a bunch of numbers. You can't just be retiring numbers left and right. Like, I think, some people are like, well, if you win a Heisman, your jersey should be retired. I think that's a really fair thought, and I wish it could be that simple. But if you retire, I mean, every guy that has a Heisman trophy, some of these teams have 4, 5, 8 guys, and then on top of that, you're going to want to retire other guys for doing other things, being part of title teams or honoree of something. You're going to run low on numbers. You're going to have the whole team doubling up on numbers, or every 25, there'll be another 25, or every 7, there's another 7. Like, it just, up and down the line there. And so I think, practically speaking, it's a forward thinking maneuver where you'd love to honor these people, right? But if you play 200 more years of football, you can't just retire someone every 4 or 5 years. You just can't do it that way. You mentioned North Carolina. North Carolina has a ton of guys that hang in their rafters with duplicate numbers because of the honoree system that they do. I mean, they've got, 42 is 3 times 3. There's 4 44s in North Carolina history. And then there are still a few that are set apart where it's special. Like, okay, I know this will shock you, but no one will ever wear number 23 for the University of North Carolina again. I think that's a very understandable one. But, they've got 7 or 8 permanently retired numbers, and then they've got a bunch of honorees. And I think that is probably a great way of doing it for most situations, where you're giving something to someone. You're putting that name and number in the rafters or on the building or something, but you're not permanently retiring that, because you just can't. You're going to have 007 is going to be the new quarterback number at some point, and 152. You're going to have a whole new grouping of numbers that are not even allowed right now. So I think that's just the practical nature of it. Again, I get it. Winning a Heisman special, I'm not trying to diminish that. Jaden Daniels was awesome that year. He threw for like 40 touchdowns, had 4 picks, ran up and down the field. LSU's defense sucked, and that's why they lost. And I get all of that. He was great, and he should be recognized for that. But, if LSU, it says, hey, you're on a 9-3 team, we're not reserving this. This is not going to be just your number. then they have the right to do that. Other schools agree with LSU. How is Tim Tebow's jersey not retired? Tim Tebow is one of the most talked about athletes of the 21st century at the college level. Like, we still make comparisons to Tim Tebow. We're not Sports Call Gainesville, obviously. But if we were in Gainesville, I bet you they'd evoke Tim Tebow's name often in the way that we compare, like, falsely. But we're like, does this guy have some Cam Newton in him? Well, no, he doesn't. But we're going to say the name, you know? And so they haven't even retired his number. He won a national championship and won a Heisman Trophy in different years. He was awesome. And again, I wanted to use the Robert Griffin III example too, because Baylor's not a good program. Like, you had every right at Baylor, one of the lesser programs in the Power Four, quite frankly, to say, "Oh, we had a Heisman winner. Oh, retire that jersey. That was awesome." But they haven't done it. They've got 2 guys wearing number 10 on this team. So, like, I that's why I'm saying, and again, Jack, you pointed out, like, this is probably not even Jaden Daniels that cooked this up. This is probably, I know people are joking about his mom on social media, so I don't know if there's any truth to that, but that or his agent or whoever. And it's like, that's not your place. And you look really bad when you beg for something like that. Again, and I also hate it too, because now I'm sure I'd love to hear 15 minutes of radio in Baton Rouge today, because I bet some people are having a field day. I bet people are upset. I bet, some people are like, "Oh, he's dead to me," and blah, blah, blah. And I think that's regrettable, because Jaden is a great player, and I hope he's still a really good player for Washington in years to come. But that has soured a situation that needed to be soured for no reason. Jaden Daniels is the very best thing that happened during the Brian Kelly era, period. The very best thing. And now that has been tainted.
I apologize if I was not fully paying attention. Did you guys mention the LSU policy that they have that changed in 2007 on retired jerseys?
No, I just know that, again, their retired numbers are all way back. They are not recent.
So LSU has officially honored 5 legends with jersey retirements. However, they changed a policy in 2007 that only Billy Cannon's number 20 is permanently out of the rotation. They've made a policy change where any other number, even if it's retired, can be used at the coach's discretion.
Oh.
So they inform. I guess I'm guessing they inform the coach.
I don't love that
when they get hired that, hey, if you think a player is worthy of this number, you can give it to him.
Because I believe once you retire a number, though,
it should stay retired
unless you get permission from that athlete. And I don't even mean his family. I mean that athlete, in my opinion. Because I don't want to get down this road. But the stuff where they clone people's voice that's passed away, and then the estate approves it. Like, I think that's a slippery slope too, by the way. But like, that's that I don't love. Now, again, that doesn't have a ton to do with Jaden Daniels, other than show you that, hey, they're already kind of like nudging the guys they already retired. Like, hey, we need these numbers. So
I do I like the sentiment, though, of a special number, though. I like, because we talked about the other day,
and they do have
with
a couple
Dallas,
special numbers.
We talked about how Dallas Cowboys have the 88, and that is a number that is given to a wide receiver that they have a lot of faith in. You see that. I can't think of the top of my head, but I know there's other programs in college football.
LSU's one of them.
Yeah,
LSU, like their linebacker wears a special number or something.
Right, and for a while,
Penn State they have one, right? I can't.
Penn State was like 40 something.
Yeah,
40. Whatever Tyler Warren.
Didn't they have a 5 too? Didn't they have? Isn't the 5
Maybe.
kind of a big number for them?
But
too?
LSU, I know for DBs for a while, number 7.
Yeah.
Was like, we are designating our top DB as number 7.
Wasn't there also a conversation about retiring Tyrann Mathieu' number? Wasn't there?
But see, that's the thing. When I think 7, I think Patrick Peterson at LSU. Like, and I'm sure someone's got something from even further back than that. Like, that is a great number for multiple people, not just one.
I also, upon we've talked about this program recently on the program for different reasons, obviously, because this just came up today and last night. When I was going through the LSU stuff, I noticed a Sports Illustrated article about Notre Dame saying more programs should be like Notre Dame. Notre Dame doesn't have any numbers retired. They have 7 Heisman Trophy winners. They had Joe Montana, who won the national championship. They have no jersey retired. And I don't know if you guys, I was doing as much research as I could. you can Google as much as you want. Sometimes you just can't get a photo that you need. But I found a couple
like an unrelated issue.
You kind of get some angles. Notre Dame doesn't even have the names on jerseys, like home or away. Their names are not on jerseys, and so they've done this tradition where it's like, yeah, exactly, where it's like you're wearing this number, but we are acknowledging it's not yours forever, even though you're playing at one of the most storied programs in college football. The Yankees are playing at one of the most storied programs in baseball history. It is not, we retired numbers, but it's like you are not above the organization.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying go that far with everybody and don't put names on jerseys, but
it's to show you Jay Daniels is not being wronged.
Yeah.
Like this is not some, he's literally the only one not getting this treatment. No, in fact, it's the opposite, where the majority do not get the specialization that he's asking for and the honoree that he's asking for. And, I also, the timing of this sucks too. I know Jaden came out and put something on social media and it was like, I'm focused on camp. My team is just fighting for, or my team and I hope LSU and I have an amicable discussion, blah, blah, non-public, blah, blah, blah. Insert PR here. And so it's like, but dude, why did you do this in May? Why June? Like, we're 4 weeks from the season. You're going to take take snaps here soon in the preseason.
You're in training camp.
And they're coming off a bad season too. So.
You're in training camp. What are you talking? Why are you concerning yourself with your number when you've got to go to?
You think Dan Quinn loves seeing this?
No.
You think Joe Burrow
fighting for his job this year?
Do you think Joe Burrow's sitting up there concerning himself about what's happening with number 9 down there?
No, he isn't.
He's trying to get back.
Joe Burrow leaves Cincinnati to take the first play in the Baton Rouge the next time someone wears number 9.
Who won the Heisman last year?
That was for Mendoza.
You think Mendoza's calling up just Kurt Cignetti saying, "Hey, coach, remember, don't give anybody my jersey this year"? No, he's trying to win a starting quarterback job.
And avoid the Vegas Strip. If you saw his quote today, there was some funny stuff with that.
He's so pure.
Yeah, got a minute or two left of the hour, so we'll keep it right here.
I think that number should probably. I think the best way, as I mentioned though, is the honor system of a number, because then it has a meaning. It shows the faith that they have in that player. It just shows, hey, look, you let's say they're a great running back. Like, hey, you wear this number or whatever. That we have a lot of faith in you. For Auburn, I know Cam's number hasn't really been worn that much. There was conversation like last year with Deuce Knight about wearing it. Cam was like, hey, wear, hey, be your own person kind of thing. He was against it. And then I'm personally fine with other people wearing number 2, just not at the quarterback position.
Well, they did retire it last year, though.
Yeah.
So number 2 is now retired.
Because that was my thing. I was always like, I was fine with people wearing like that number or whatever, but it's just, I don't want to see it on a quarterback. Like if I saw it like on a defensive back, whatever, or even a kicker, but also at the same time, then you have the player thinking, because this is what I would be thinking, just be like, your number, if you wear that number, you're not really going to be thought of, the same. Like when you wear, like if you're like a kicker, as I mentioned, you wear number 2, because that's a pretty common kicker number for a lot of people. But you wear that jersey out in public, like, oh, Cam Newton, and you're like, no, that was my number. It's just it's stuff like that. But it is funny. Futurama had a bit. I don't know if you, because I feel like you would probably know this.
Futurama's a great show.
They had a bit about that where it's like playing baseball and like and I can't remember exactly, but I remember that in the game they had like decimal points as their numbers, like halves and everything, just because like they were like all the numbers were retired. They made that
probably
joke.
spoofing the Yankees, probably, because as Brooks said, they've got probably 20 numbers retired. But
I'm gonna say Aaron Judge in a normal team is not wearing number 99.
No.
Yeah,
but like that's his number. That's what everybody knows.
But see, now we've normalized it, and guess what? He's healthy a few more years. That number will be retired.
Yeah, because in college basketball is difficult because they only go up to 25. What's the number? Like how? Because I know they don't go past. There's a certain.
Well, no, they skipped the number that so that you didn't put. What was it? JJ would always explain this.
Yeah,
it was for foul situations.
Yeah, because they don't do
the
five,
scores table. But no, I mean you could wear 70. Like I mean, again, Tyler Hansbrough. We were talking about Carolina. His 50 is retired.
Was it did they skip numbers that's like you could go up, but like if it was the reverse of that, like if you were wearing 13, there couldn't be a 31 because it would look the same.
It's something quirky. But I think the moral of the story is they did away with it because I remember JJ being upset.
Yeah.
He's like, this is going to be so weird. I'm like, I'm not going to notice. I don't know.
It's the same way when the NFL did away with position numbers, people, because a lot of quarterbacks were like, it kind of made it easier a little bit. Like, hey, he's a DB or whatever. That's a linebacker. Nowadays it's like, oh, he's wearing 0. What is he?
He's whatever he wants to be. All right, we're out of time for hour number 2 of the program. Coming up in hour number 3, we will shift gears and go to preseason number 6 in the SEC Media Poll. It'll be time to preview Alabama in the 5 o'clock hour. Also want to remind you as we go to break here, I haven't said it yet this show, but tomorrow, again, only a 1-hour show. Atlanta Falcons going to be on our airwaves starting at 4 o'clock with a kick time of 6 o'clock for their first preseason game. So 1 more hour today and 1 hour tomorrow, and that's it for the week. But we've got 1 more hour today, so stay tuned. This is the Thursday edition of Sports Call on Tiger 95.9.
2 hours of Sports Call are finished. Don't touch that radio dial. We've got 1 more hour to go.
Hey everybody, this is Brandon Maxwell with Fairway Auto Brokers. Back to school deals are here and you deserve a new ride. With over 150 of the finest pre-owned vehicles in stock, we make car buying fun and easy for the whole family. As Lee County's #1 place to buy a pre-owned vehicle, come see why Fairway is the difference. Visit us at www.fab-auto.com or stop by today at 1777 East Glen Avenue in Auburn, Alabama.
Frederick Dean Funeral Home and Crematory is here for you when you need us. With locations in Lee, Chambers, and Tallapoosa counties, serving the people of East Alabama and West Georgia since 1900. A family-owned and operated business, skip the hassle of the big corporate mortuaries. Our kind, compassionate team members are standing by to assist your family in the hardest of times. An on-site crematory, private cemetery, and a choice of facilities makes Frederick Dean unique. Visit us at frederickdean.com.
Weekdays from 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. Make sure you listen to the Weekday Rush with James Chandler on Tiger 95.9 FM and the Tiger Communications app.
Good morning, my neighbors!
TK's Convenience Stores, your gotta-have headquarters. You know, those things you just gotta have, but don't have time to waste in one of those huge pack stores. Nope, at TK's, we have your gotta-have items with no hassle, along with great customer service, high-quality items, and clean stores. So whether you need a six-pack of your favorite beverage, milk, gasoline, or some cash from the ATM, TK's has it just minutes from you. TK's Convenience Stores, now with 17 locations to better serve you. Always there when you need us.
Looking for a new fitness home? Look no further than Tiger Iron Gym in Auburn. Our fitness area spans over 20,000 square feet, providing ample space for all your workout needs. Featuring an AstroTurf training area, an extensive range of cardio equipment that will get your heart pumping, and we are one of the largest 24-hour free weight gyms in America. Worried about parking? Don't. We have you covered with tons of parking spaces so you can focus on your workout. And we are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year to fit your busy schedule. Plus, we're locally owned and operated, not some big corporate gym. And you can experience all of this for just $29.99 a month with no contract. Join us today and take charge of your fitness goals. Tiger Iron Gym, South College Street in Auburn.
Keeping your money in a traditional savings account is like using the Yellow Pages instead of Google. Outdated and slow. Skip the small, slow returns and put your money to work with the Max Elevate Money Market. You get all the same security of a savings account, plus the ability to earn even more on your money. Get started at mymax.com/elevate or call us at 260-2600. Certain restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
This is the Auburn Minute presented by Honey Baked Ham and Tiger Communications. Auburn football has secured a major boost along the offensive line this offseason with the arrival of transfer center Cole Best. Standing at 6'4" and 322 pounds, the senior center comes to the Plains from South Florida, bringing high-level experience and a proven track record of durability. Best started 20 consecutive games for the Bulls and earned All-American Conference honors after leading an explosive high-tempo offense. Reuniting with head coach Alex Golish, Best stepped right in as Auburn's first-team center during spring practices. Known for his physical line play, elite pass protection, and veteran leadership, Best is expected to be a crucial anchor up front as the Tigers prepare for the upcoming SEC campaign. If you didn't know it, you do now. This has been the Auburn Minute.
Let Honey Baked Ham be your hero for all of your family gatherings. Our Honey Baked Ham is the star, but don't forget the sides. From creamy casseroles to mouth-watering desserts, Honey Baked Ham Company has everything you need to complete your celebration. Indulge in Honey Baked Ham's delicious, perfectly baked sides and decadent desserts. Just the right touch for any feast. Make your next meal easy, delicious, and unforgettable with Honey Baked Ham. Pre-order all of your favorites today or visit us at 1451 Gateway Drive in Opelika. Honey Baked Ham, where every meal is a memory.
The summer heat is here, and the best way to make sure you stay cool all season long is to give May Refrigeration a call. When your AC goes out or needs maintenance, May Refrigeration's technicians are trained and equipped to handle anything that comes their way. And don't forget, it's never a bad time to get your heating system checked, especially when you aren't using it. Give May Refrigeration a call today at 745-COLD. That's 745-COLD. So for quality customer service that you can count on every time, May Refrigeration, proudly serving the Auburn and Opelika area.
Are you looking to buy or sell land in the Southeast? Southeastern Land Group is here for you. With over 20 years of experience, we specialize in farms, ranches, timberland, hunting properties, and recreational land. Whether you're a seasoned investor or a first-time buyer, our expert team offers personalized service every step of the way. From listing to closing, we make the process simple and smooth. Ready to make your move? Visit selandgroup.com and find your perfect piece of land today. Southeastern Land Group, your trusted partner in land sales.
On Saturdays, we all wear orange and blue, but every day, Auburn University Credit Union is proud to serve the people who make this community strong. Whether you're opening your first account, buying your first car, planning for your future, or growing your business, we're here for every chapter, because at Auburn University Credit Union, you're more than a customer. You're a member. You're an owner. Your family. Auburn University Credit Union, rooted in Auburn, committed to you. To learn more, visit myaucu.org. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal Opportunity Lender. NMLS number 530633.
Did you hear? Allstate car insurance now costs even less. So when you bundle with home, you can save even more. Check Allstate first to bundle and save with a new lower auto rate. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings may vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This summer, the Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich and Pineapple Dragon Fruit and Sprite are back at Chick-fil-A.
Let me tell you about the Pineapple Dragon Fruit and Sprite. It's bright, it's bubbly, it's back.
The Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich, it's so rich, and you can choose between the original or the spicy filet.
Ooh, boy.
And then you got those pickled jalapenos tucked right under the filet, and then just to top it all off, you've got a little honey drizzle right on top.
Okay, now I'm a pimento fan.
And I'm feeling the dragon fruit.
Which fan favorite will you choose? Real customers paid for their testimonials.
You're listening to Sports Call on Tiger 95.9 FM, WTGZ Tuskegee, Auburn.
This is the Tiger Communications Sports Report brought to you by Auburn University Credit Union. I'm Brooks Childress. Back in April, 25 members of the Auburn equestrian team were recognized by the National Collegiate Equestrian Association for their efforts in the classroom. Seniors Caroline Buchanan, Caroline Friedenberg, and Alexia Tordoff. Juniors Avery Glenn, Kelly Hogg, and Brooke Jolstead. And sophomores Kate Haggerty and Ariana Marnell were placed on the NCEA All-Academic First Team. Junior Sydney Swallam and sophomore Sadie Burkout and Michelle Fumagalli earned a spot on the second team. Jill Alexander, Taylor Banks, Holland Barnett, Burkholt, Buchanan, Charlotte Clark, Abby Edie, Friedenberg, Fumagalli, Glenn, Haggerty, Lauren Hill, Hogg, Jolstead, Elizabeth Klein, Marnell, Maddie Masick, Bailey McKeever, Charlotte McLaughlin, Frankie Nicholas, Elizabeth Knoll,
Katie Parker, Katie Reichard, Swallam, and Toroff represented Auburn on the NCEA Academic Honor Roll. Atlanta Falcons quarterback Tua Tagovailoa will start Friday night in the team's preseason opener against the Denver Broncos. Coach Kevin Stefanski said Wednesday. That does not necessarily mean Tagovailoa will be the starter week 1, though. Despite the decision to start Tagovailoa on Friday, Stefanski said it's still too early to tab a starting quarterback for the regular season. The Falcons traveled to the Pittsburgh Steelers for week 1 on September 13th. Michael Penix Jr., the third-year quarterback for the Falcons, is still not yet fully cleared from a torn ACL he suffered last season and unable to do 11 on 11 team sessions in practice. Don't forget to hear all the action from the Falcons preseason on Tiger 95.9. And the Atlanta Braves captured another series last night with a 6-3 win over the New York Mets. Lane Thomas would give the Braves the early lead in the second inning with his first homer as a member of the team. Then in the third inning, Matt Olson would drive in a run despite hitting into a double play. Ronald Acuna Jr. would then add another run in the fifth with an RBI single. The Mets would finally get on the board in the sixth as Luis Torrens would hit a solo home run. Then Luis Robert Jr. would do the same in the seventh. But the Braves would strike back in the bottom of the seventh, starting with Mike Yastrzemski at the plate.
Here's the 1-0 pitch on the way to Yastrzemski. Yaz with a high fly ball, reaching for the wall, deep right field. Binge is at the bricks and watching it go. A sky duster to right field, got just enough on it. And it's a pinch hit home run here in the seventh by Mike Yastrzemski. His 9th homer of the year.
That audio courtesy of the Atlanta Braves Radio Network. Austin Riley would follow that with a homer of his own. Then a few batters later, Drake Baldwin would drive in a run on an RBI single. The Mets would try a rally in the ninth as Bo Bichette would homer, but it wouldn't be enough. Tyler Mahle would get the win for the Braves, going 6 innings, giving up 4 hits and 1 run, while striking out 7 to improve to 4-9 on the year, while Zach Thornton for the Mets would take the loss to fall to 3-3. The Braves are back in action at home tomorrow night against the Arizona Diamondbacks, and you can hear it live on AM 1230 WAUD. I'm Brooks Childress in the Vineyard Tide Communications Sports Report, brought to you by Auburn University Credit Union.
Auburn University Credit Union is partnered with Care Humane Society for the AUCU CARES debit card. It's free to you, and each time you swipe the card, AUCU makes a donation on your behalf. It's a win-win. For more information, visit myaucu.org. AUCU is federally insured by the NCUA and an equal opportunity lender.
You're listening to Sports Call on Tiger 95.9 FM, WTGZ Tuskegee, Auburn. Whether you're leaving work, cruising around town, or listening on demand, we've still got some fun left for you. To be part of the show, give us a call at 334-887-3401 locally or toll free at 1-888-9-TIGER-9. Auburn's first and Auburn's favorite sports talk show has been on the air since 1995 and is ready for 60 more minutes of fun. Now, let's get this hour of Sports Call started.
Hour number 3 of Sports Call beginning right now. Tiger 95.9, the Tiger.fm, and the Tiger Communications app. Ryan Lavoie, Brooks Childress, and Jack Myrick with you here today. We've also had Connor Knight helping us with the stream. Speaking of stream, we will not stream the program live on video tomorrow, being just a 45, 50-minute show or thereabouts. So if you have been watching us on YouTube and Facebook, we appreciate it. We are not stopping. We're just going to take a nap tomorrow, and we'll be back with you next week for all of our shows. So,
and if you don't hear one of us talking because we're not on video, we may actually be taking a nap.
Again, if you tune in between 3 and 3:20, you will see me yawn multiple times. It's me acquiring the brain power and oxygen for the rest of the show because it's time to get going. So, again, we will not have a video stream tomorrow. We, of course, will be able to be streamed, though, audio-wise, on the Tiger.fm and the Tiger Communications app to go with, of course, the normal radio signal of Tiger 95.9. All right, 5 o'clock hour, time to get to number 6 in the preseason SEC media poll. Again, not doing a team tomorrow. We'll line up perfectly with 5 for next week to get you to number 1. But again, 3 through 7, all super close. I'll be a broken record the next few days as we do this. Oklahoma was 7. Alabama voted 6, although there's some that had them 3, some that had them 7, and everything in between. Last year for the Crimson Tide, it started off in a very inauspicious manner. They lost to Florida State. I think we know why. It was because of their offensive coordinator. They then righted the ship and were really strong in the middle of the season. They beat Georgia, Vandy, Missouri, and Tennessee all in a row, and having multiple of those games looking really impressive doing it. And then towards the end of the year, it's like they stopped improving. It's like they took even a step back. They were underwhelming against a rough LSU team. They lost the game to Oklahoma with a lot of sloppy play, obviously barely survived the Rhode Iron Bowl, and then got thumped by Georgia in the SEC championship game before beating Oklahoma in the rematch to also then get thumped by Indiana in the Rose Bowl. And so Alabama under Kalen DeBoer now, year number 3, 20-8 for DeBoer at Alabama. And, we get questions about him from time to time. Obviously, some of our callers bring him up. But, guys, again, what just is your overall impression on how this thing is going for Kalen DeBoer so far, succeeding Nick Saban?
I mean, I think it's going about as I'll tell you. I'll say this. I know there's a lot of folks that are questioning, his job security and stuff like that, and talking about how he needs to shape up and stuff. But I'll tell you what, it's been going about as well as it could for the guy that is succeeding the guy. There's a lot of times that the guy that comes after the guy does not do as well. I mean, one of the most recent ones, I'll go with this, and even though he was on the decline in his last few years, very recently was in the NFL. Bill Belichick succeeded by Gerard Mayo, and that was a disaster. And then they went to the next guy up in New England, and it seems to be working out well with Mike Vrabel on the field. Off the field's a different story. I think a playoff appearance in this past season is going about as well as you can say after the guy. I mean, 1 year removed from Nick Saban, you're back in the playoffs and you won a playoff game. And I mean, you ran into the juggernaut that was Indiana in the college football playoff. And so it's, I feel like there's the rumors of the demise of Alabama football are greatly exaggerated. Obviously they're not at the same level as Nick Saban was there, because Nick Saban, one of the greatest coaches, maybe the greatest college football coach of all time, had them at a level that we hadn't seen since Bear Bryant was the walking the sidelines for Alabama. And so, I think that there needs to be a little bit more from the Alabama side of things, a little bit more patience, because he is getting there. He got you to he got an SEC championship game appearance last year. You got a playoff appearance last year. You're still beating your rivals. You beat Georgia last year, which is, not a lot of teams can say that over the past few years. And so it feels like they are a team that is, still being from fans, I still think being a little slept on. I think a lot of the media thinks that they are a team that can, be a playoff caliber team again this year. Here's the thing is, it's not like they've gone, fallen flat on their face and they're now, only winning 7-8 games a year. Like I said, we talked about it. They were going into that SEC championship game 10-2 last year. They lost 2 games. And so I think that this Alabama team, as long as they get things right and they get things moving in the right direction off the bat this year, I think it's a squad that, I mean, they're not. Here's the good news for Auburn fans, and the good news for the rest of the SEC is they're not Nick Saban, and they are beatable at times. Oklahoma and Florida State showed that last year in the regular season. They're not infallible like a lot of the Nick Saban teams were. But it's, they're still a team that's going to, with Kalen DeBoer, going to challenge for playoff spots, going to challenge for SEC title games.
Yeah, it's just as you mentioned, they're not. It's not Nick Saban, and that's the reason why the conversation is around them about winning, because they just haven't, been back since Saban. They haven't been able to make a deep playoff run. Haven't been able to, so it's just expectations. Obviously, it's a tough act to follow for Kalen DeBoer. I do think he's a good head coach. I think that they're fine. But at the end of the day, as we mentioned, it's just they want more out of that program. They see the Georgia, they see the Texas in the SEC, they see now the Oklahoma kind of rising, the Texas A&M, where it's like they're getting better and better. Where it feels like Alabama has kind of been in a spot where it's like 9 wins, 10 wins, 11. Like it's not. You don't fear like. It's not the same as those programs. And I think that's where a lot of like Alabama fans are hungry for. They want to be back to where it's like, oh, we're going to be in Atlanta at the end of the season. They want that mentality. But it's a really hard conference now. There's so much, spread talent throughout the league now. It's not where you had those years of Georgia, Alabama, where it's like 4 or 5 stars deep on one position. No, it is pretty spread out. Or those 5 stars are at South Carolina, they're at Kentucky, they're at Missouri. They're spread out, and that's just something that I think people are gonna have to come to terms with. But yes, there is still a point for Kellen DeBoer though that he is gonna have to, I think, in the years to come, to make a deeper run in the playoffs, to really prove himself, because they have the resources to do it. I do subscribe to that. This recruiting class right now hasn't looked the best for them, but overall they're pretty fine. I mean, they have really solid rosters. You mentioned the show's trying to figure out the quarterback position between Keelan Russell and Austin Mack. That's something that's still very intriguing, because they have Keelan Russell, who is their highest rated recruit, rating that Alabama's ever recruited, which is wild to think about. But if he works out to be everything that they say he is, they should be fine. Because last year they had Ty Simpson, who's doing really well. Year before, Jalen Milroe was serviceable, had moments where he flashed some really great stuff. But it's just, it comes down to the end of it where it's the fans, it's kind of the national media being like, you're Alabama, you should be doing more. But I think overall, looking at them, I think they're right where they should be at the moment.
Yeah, again, I don't think it's panic time yet. I do think, though, again, we're talking about the one program that probably has the single highest set of expectations, at least as a program overall. Now, again, this particular season, I think the highest expectations are in Austin, Texas. But, you're talking about the program that just yielded Saban, that just had a 15 or so year run of dominance, and still sees a Georgia team that, led by Kirby Smart, who was, of course, once at Alabama, they see him still winning these SEC titles every year. So even though the sport has changed, and I think that the dynasties are going to look, or quote, dynasty, would look a lot different now. We would not be talking about something that could win 5 or 6 titles in a 10-year span. We'd have to be talking about a couple titles and a couple semis and making the playoffs every year. That would be more like, I think, a dynasty in a bigger playoff era. We still see Georgia able to at least be winning the SEC the last couple of years. And so Alabama is going to think to itself as a program, why are we not doing that? Because we just proved we were the program to do that. And now a program that produced the head coach of Georgia is doing that. So why not us? And that's what it's always going to go back to. And so, I think that they are, again, a bit uncomfortable. Again, I don't think that it has been a disaster by any means. But the other argument that we hear, and it's a tough one to argue because, again, I know that rosters flip so much more now than they used to. But you say to yourself, Saban retired with Alabama still a top 4 team. They lost that Michigan game, was his last game, and the semis, or when we still had the 4-team playoff, the last year, the 4-team playoff. Why did you immediately go down to 9-4 the year after Saban retired? Why with a bunch of Saban players have you not won anything of significance in 2 years? That's why some are concerned. And look, there will be different fits for different players and different systems and all that. So again, I'm not saying that's the end all be all, but it is something that we hear, and it is a concern that some have mentioned, that you weren't able to do it with what was going to be the most talented teams you would have. Did they fit the best? You could argue they would not. But again, just most raw talent, because Jack, as you mentioned, this year's recruiting is still well behind the 8 ball. I still subscribe to the opinion that if they are winning games this year, they will catch up. They'll get a few highly touted guys, but they're not going to be top 5.
Yeah.
I still think they can work their way in the top 10. But okay, if they got to 8th or 9th, okay, Nick Saban never was only 8th or 9th. They were always 1st, 2nd, or 3rd every single year. And so that is the proof where it's like the point we're talking about with Saban roster is that was a wealth of talent that few, if any, ever had. And even in this age where the talent is getting more dispersed, that team clearly still had a lot of it. And to be fair, as we go now into this team has a lot of it. And defensively, I think they could be awesome. You know, the last couple of years, they've still put up some really good tallies. I think Kane Womack is doing a very acceptable job for them. Their secondary is going to be nasty. I mean, the entire secondary is going to be great. Zabian Brown, Bray Hubbard, Keon Sabb were all SEC picks in the preseason in that defensive backfield. People are excited about Red Morgan. People, are excited about a couple of the other pieces like Yancey Pierre. Like they've got a lot on defense. And if they're not a top 5 defensive unit in the country this year, top 5 or 7, I think they will have missed the mark there. They have the pieces to do that. The other side of the ball, as you mentioned, will they start Keelan Russell or Austin Mack? Everyone seems to still think it's Keelan Russell, but clearly we're about 3 weeks from this thing, and Alabama hasn't decided yet. So it's at least somewhat close between those two. We know that last year, and I think this also disgusted a certain segment of Alabama fans, and I'm not saying they're wrong for this. It would have disgusted me also. They could not run at all last year. It was an awful rushing team. They only ran for 104 yards a game at 3.4 yards a carry. And, that's something I identified really early in the year and said, they don't seem to be able to block anybody, and they don't have a great dynamic running back. And where is this? And we know that the Kalen DeBoer system is quarterback oriented. Washington certainly was not going to the title game because of running backs. They weren't going because of Michael Penix and a passing concepts. But in the same way people are like Auburn needs to run the football, Alabama's had enough history, even just beyond Saban, of saying, hey, maybe they should run the football. And so when you have teams that underwhelm and they don't do the thing they were always known for, I think that's always going to sit a little bit differently with folks. And so the fact that was the worst rushing team since pre-Saban, that set some people off too. So I'm going to be curious to see if they can reestablish that run game this year.
Yeah, I mean, mid 2000s or late early 2010s, it was Alabama running back. Who is the guy this year?
And the number 2 guy felt like he was always better than the number 1 guy.
And Georgia had a run like that too. They had a few good running backs. You're like, man, this guy's really good. He's graduating this year. Great. Yeah. Oh, wait, here's another guy.
Here's Nick Chubb.
Yep, yeah. Exactly. It's just that is a pivotal point of their historic offensive attack. It's like Auburn. I mean, Auburn can have as many Cam Colemans as possible. They can have as many, Seth Williams as possible. The question every year is who's the quarterback, who's the running back. That is always the question, and that's what the question is at Alabama. It's who's the quarterback. All right, who's the running back? All right, great. We got Ryan Williams Coleman. Great. Who's the running back here? Who is that guy that is going to be toting the rock and carrying the football for the Alabama offense, and who's going to be running over guys? And it's a pivotal point of their historic offensive attack, at least. You can go to as many spread and throw the ball around as possible offenses as you want. But if you are, I think, Kalen DeBoer knows it, but if you are the head coach of Alabama, you've got to have a running game at some point.
They definitely do. That was a big piece of Saban's offense a good bit, as you mentioned. Just you looked at you go from Mark Ingram, Trent Richardson, Derrick Henry, Jahmyr Gibbs now,
Najee Harris.
Yeah, there's so many you can list off, and hasn't really been there. Just was not there last year. Was really weak. They got just bullied in the SEC championship game. They did. That was the thing. They just,
and against the very team that they had beaten in the regular season that they had, because they've owned Georgia in a lot of ways.
Yeah, they've mentally have just control, beaten Georgia down, and where it feels like years where Georgia's got them, Georgia has them, and then Alabama would just take care of business. But then go to the SEC championship game last year, and it was the opposite. Georgia came in, took care of what they needed to do, and completely just shut down anything Alabama tried to do. And that's not very typical of Alabama teams. And that's something that they got, as you mentioned, they have to get back to running the football definitely a lot better than they did last year.
At least lip service to it. Again, I know that their offense is going to be quarterback based now. That's what the board does. But, you saw how much Ty Simpson and the offense and these wide receivers were trying to carry. And that's why you did not see the best version of Ryan Coleman Williams. And that's why, I ended up being more impressed with Jeremy Bernard last season, because I thought that he was kind of leading that room. And it just made it to where it was a bit of a struggle. They were at 29.5 points a game last year. And for reference, some of those last Saban teams were around 40. And the really good one, the Tua and stuff, and Mac Jones, 47 a game. Alabama scored 47 points a game on top of the defense that they had. But last year, they were down to 30. So I think that they, they've got the pieces. Again, I've said it, their defense is going to be really, really good. I just don't know about Keelan Russell and Austin Mack. And Keelan Russell is a big-time recruit, and he's probably going to be really good. But, they have it's the same conversation to have anyone. Okay, 5-star guy, and theoretically he's going to be great. But he also, in this day and age of college football, needs to be great immediately. Or we're going to start portaling after him after year one, and he's going to want a portal, and everyone's going to portal. So there is a little bit of more pressure, because there's not going to be he had a kind of a solid year, but he's a little bit underwhelming, but we'll get him in year two. Not many guys get that luxury anymore. And so that's the only part of it where it's okay, well, the expectations will still be really high. And if it doesn't work, they're not going to sit around and wait for him to develop for 2 or 3 years. But let's grab a phone call here on the SportsCall phone line, 334-887-3401 locally, or toll-free 1-888-9-TIGER-9. We're talking Alabama, so let's go to one of our great Alabama callers.
Luke from Alex City.
Luke joins us. Luke, how are you doing today?
Hey, guys. How are y'all?
Doing very well.
Wanted to just reach out a little bit. JJ texted me and said y'all were doing Alabama today, so I was sure to tune in. He said give him a call and just talk a little bit. We had a scrimmage today, and Keelan Russell had 3 touchdowns, I'm told, and Austin Mack had a touchdown or 2, but he also had a couple of picks that I think were tip balls. A.K. Deere, running back from last year, a 5-star that was getting acclimated last year. He came from maybe a little bit of a smaller school in Mississippi and not necessarily gotten all the experience you would have gotten playing, say, at Thompson. And so it took him a minute to get acclimated to the SEC life and big-time football. But he was having a fantastic fall and a fantastic scrimmage, but then he got hurt as he was going into the end zone today. I think he had something like 12, 14 carries for 140 yards in this scrimmage today. That's non-verified, but that's roughly what he had. And so hopefully he's going to be okay. Wide receiver-wise, Lottie Brooks, Ryan Coleman Williams, Sadarian Morgan from my hometown in Alexander City. I think he's going to be great. Derek Meadows, who he and Sadarian are a lot alike. But I think the offensive line, like you said, the offensive line is going to tell the tale. And they needed a new offensive line coach, and they got one. And they got Adrian Clem, who is a fantastic coach. He's got NFL experience. He seems to have a bit of a mean streak in him and wants more of a mean streak in his linemen. And I think he's instilled that. Guys like Michael Carroll, who's a freshman last year, he's got all the tools to be super player and an All-American eventually. And they get Rayson Delgado at center, who has done very well so far, according to all reports. So, again, you mentioned the defense. There's no doubt that the defensive backfield is the strong suit. It is pretty – it's Saban-esque. Now, the linebackers, certainly some question marks. The transfer in from Virginia Tech and Caleb Woodson, and then QB Reese or Luke Metz, either one of those guys taking up the other inside spot. But defensive line is where I think things really improved. They've got some really big guys along the defensive line now. They've got Devin Tompkins, the transfer from USC, who's just a really big guy. And then Terrence Green from Oregon, also a humongous human being. And they just didn't have that size last year. Tim Keenan was broad, but he wasn't very tall. LT Overton was a good player, but again, he wasn't just this huge mass of muscle. So it's good that I think they knew they had to go out and get bigger, and that's what they did.
And so, Luke, I guess my question for you, because I don't know if you got the beginning of it, but we were kind of assessing, where the program is at here in year number 3. And again, you did a great job there of breaking it down for us. I know you do Locked On Bama and are in it every day. But, I want to ask you where you kind of feel that the tenor of DeBoer's tenure is right now, because, I've heard both sides of the equation. I've heard like, hey, what did you expect? Of course, it wasn't going to be Nick Saban, but they're right there knocking on the door. And I've also heard, man, this guy, I don't know if he's cut out for this type of job at this moment. Where are you at right now on DeBoer?
I mean, I'm all in on DeBoer. I mean, I think he's a really good coach. I think that again, we are judging him on Alabama standards and Alabama Nick Saban standards. It's not really fair. In the end, he's gone to a playoff, won a playoff road game. He's beaten Georgia at Georgia and Georgia in Tuscaloosa. I know they got hammered in the SEC title game, and, I'm not here to make excuses for him, but that team was coming in on one leg. I mean, everybody in the world on that team was hurt, and Georgia took advantage of it, and kudos to them. I mean, that's part of football is injuries. So I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying they certainly were dealing with a lot of injuries at that time. And I think DeBoer's doing really well. Look, I get a lot of questions. A lot of our listeners want to rant about the recruiting and, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're ranked so low in recruiting. And I keep saying, first of all, you've got to take out everything you know about recruiting right now, because everything's changing. Alabama is going to focus this year. Yeah, they want to go out and get the best players they can at the most reasonable prices. But next year is where they want to really load up, and they're already doing that. And they also want to maintain and sustain the roster they have. So a guy like Michael Carroll, for instance, I just mentioned, whereas I'm pulling numbers. These are not real numbers. I'm just saying if he's a $400,000 or $500,000 guy this year, and if he's as good as everybody thinks he'll be, maybe a $1.5 million guy next year. Keelan Russell, if he wins the job, and again, I think he will, then if you're paying him $1.5 million right now, you're going to pay him $5 million next year. That's what a quarterback will be worth. So you've got to prepare that, and you've got to be able to say, okay, we might have to sacrifice a guy like Monshawn Sales, who his nickname is Bama. He's in Indiana. He's the best wide receiver in the country, and he ended up choosing Indiana. And again, I get it. Alabama's offer wasn't going to be as big as it was competitive, but it wasn't as big as Indiana's. And that's just the way the ball bounces now. That's about recruiting. But I think DeBoer is doing a really good job. Is it an A+ Nick Saban job? No, but my standard wasn't to meet that. I don't think anybody can meet that, and nobody ever will, especially in today's climate. So I think what Alabama fans need to do, and I've said this multiple times on Locked On Bama, give me 10-2 every year. Alabama at 10-2 is going to the playoffs every time, every single time, no questions asked. Because the SEC and the way it is, the way Alabama's future schedules are set up, next year they go to Ohio State and then welcome the Buckeyes. Then after that, it's Notre Dame and a home and home. So they've got a bunch of great games lined up along with the SEC slate. And if it's 10-2, and if that means that we lose at home to Oklahoma in a disappointing way, well, I mean, we've got to learn to deal with that, because going undefeated. I know Indiana did it, but it's going to be difficult to do from this point forward.
Yeah, again, it's a part of that changing landscape, as you mentioned, because we've said a number of times, and it may not necessarily affect Alabama or someone at the top of the league, but with the 9-game conference schedule, 8 more games have to be lost amongst SEC teams. That's just the math. It's 8 less Ball States and Western Kentucky's, and it's 8 more, of the real deal. So it is interesting to see how that all gets spread out. But you're right, 10-2 SEC teams in general are going to be in the playoff, and that's for sure. So yeah, man, appreciate you calling in today, and yeah, we're ready for football season, man.
Can't wait. Next Thursday, I get to call the Phoenix City Thompson game in Phoenix City. It's going to be a heck of a ball game. And those are the two of the 3 best programs in 7A. Well, it's not 7A anymore, I guess. Yeah. I'm going to have to get used to that too. There's a lot of things to get used to in high school football this year. It is absolute craziness. So yeah, everybody needs to tune in every single week, because you don't know what's going on with the AHSA right now.
That's true. And we will again have the AHSAA Radio Network scoreboard show on FM Talk 93.9 each Friday night at 10 p.m. So proud to carry that. I'm sure we'll hear you along for that ride as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We got the first one a week from tomorrow. So it's unbelievable that it's here, because I'm down in Mobile right now and I'm sweating through my shirt. I mean, it is so incredibly hot. I can't imagine going to playing football, but good thing those kids are used to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you calling in today, Luke.
All right, guys. Have a good day.
You too. That is Luke from Alex City joining us on the Sports Call phone line. We need to take a time out here, our first time out here of the 5 o'clock hour. More to get to here on this Thursday edition of Sports Call on Tiger 95.9.
May we have your attention, please?
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
We're Auburn's first and Auburn's favorite sports talk show.
Hi, my name is... What? My name is... My name is...
Sports Call on Tiger 95.9.
Weather brought to you by Auburn University Credit Union. Looking for the best credit card rate in town? The rate on Auburn University Credit Union's MasterCard starts at 7.9% APR. That's right, 7.9% APR. For more information or to apply, visit one of their 3 locations or myaucu.org. Annual percentage rate. Auburn University Credit Union is an equal opportunity lender.
Today we'll see high temperatures in the mid-90s across the area. The rain chance is improving just a little bit, around a third of the area. Seeing some scattered showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon hours. Lows will be in the mid-70s. Friday, much of the same. Highs, again, mid-90s. So for those that don't see any rain, heat index values will be in the 105 range. We will see lows overnight in the low mid-70s. Again, that coverage area of rain chances about a 1 in 3 chance once again. I'm Ryan Lavoie for your Tiger Communications weather update.
The summer heat is here, and the best way to make sure you stay cool all season long is to give May Refrigeration a call. When your AC goes out or needs maintenance, May Refrigeration's technicians are trained and equipped to handle anything that comes their way. And don't forget, it's never a bad time to get your heating system checked, especially when you aren't using it. Give May Refrigeration a call today at 745-COLD. That's 745-COLD. So for quality customer service that you can count on every time, May Refrigeration, proudly serving the Auburn and Opelika area.
At Mid-South Bank, our banking philosophy is family comes first. You see, we're more than a safe place to put your money or get a loan. We're a place for you to put your trust. No matter what your financial needs, you'll come first every step of the way. Come in today at 519 East Glen Avenue or visit bankmidsouth.com to find out what the friendliest, most helpful bank in town can do for you. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Did you hear? Allstate car insurance now costs even less. So when you bundle with home, you can save even more. Check Allstate first to bundle and save with a new lower auto rate. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings may vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This summer, the Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich and Pineapple Dragon Fruit and Sprite are back at Chick-fil-A.
Let me tell you about the pineapple dragon fruit and Sprite. It's bright, it's bubbly, it's back.
The honey pepper pimento chicken sandwich, it's so rich, and you can choose between the original or the spicy filet.
Ooh, boy.
And then you got those pickled jalapenos tucked right under the filet, and then just to top it all off, you've got a little honey drizzle right on top.
Okay, now I'm a pimento fan.
And I'm feeling the dragon fruit.
Which fan favorite will you choose? Real customers paid for their testimonials.
TK's Convenience Stores are your one-stop shop from Auburn to the Lake and Tallahassee to Tuskegee. Offering friendly service and a clean environment, there is sure to be a TK's located near you. Stop by on your way to and from work or school and pick up everything you need, from beer, soft drinks, and fresh hot coffee to food, snacks, and ice cream. Plus, automotive and household products, pet food, and an ATM in every store. Just look for the orange and blue Starburst sign and stop by your local TK store today. TK's Convenience Stores, they're your one-stop shop.
This is Andy Burcham, voice of the Auburn Tigers, and you're listening to Sports Call on Tiger 95.9.
Welcome back. This is the Thursday edition of Sports Call, Tiger 95.9, the Tiger.fm, the Tiger Communications app, and streaming live on Facebook and YouTube at Sports Call Auburn. Again, tomorrow's show only going to be 1 hour long. That is because we will be having the first preseason broadcast for the Atlanta Falcons right here on Tiger 95.9. Their game is at 6, so their broadcast time is at 4. So we will have less than an hour with you tomorrow. And along those lines, we'll not be streaming because of that. We'll rejoin you back on YouTube and Facebook on Monday. All right, back to the Sports Call phone line. We go 334-887-3401. No clear, toll free 1-888-9-TIGER-9. Next up here today,
Anthony from Auburn.
Anthony joins us. Anthony, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm good. And you guys?
Doing all right.
And do you think that LSU, Lane Kiffin, the equipment manager, and the guy that got the number 5 are being unreasonable or never should have promised that guy that number when you had a guy that was so celebrated to win a Heisman Memorial Trophy? I mean, I just like if I'm going to Auburn and I'm going to be a quarterback or running back or whatever, and I want Bo Jackson number, or I want Auburn's favorite son, legendary Pat Sullivan number, or Terry Beasley. That'd be absolutely crazy to want a number like that when you had a player that high profile, that celebrating, that special. I mean, I think what college football turned into just something crazy. I got to give him the number because I promised it to him. That's the only way he coming here to play. I think that guy himself is unreasonable. What are y'all thoughts?
We all talked about this in the 4 o'clock hour. We actually disagree with you. We were talking about different schools and how they do things, and most schools do not retire a bunch of uniforms. I was trying to compare some other Heisman winners like Robert Griffin III, for example, at a Baylor team that's not been a historically great program at all. They did not retire his jersey. There are 2 number 10s on their roster right now. Tim Tebow at Florida never had his jersey retired. And so at LSU, they had retired several uniforms 30, 40, 50 years ago. They've actually unretired those numbers. And there's only one. Only Billy Cannon has his number permanently retired at LSU. So this is not really something that they do. And it's not something Notre Dame has. Brooks, you were saying Notre Dame has no retired numbers.
7 Heisman winners at Notre Dame, and none of them are retired.
So this is actually, Jaden is actually not in the usual siding here. It's actually more likely than not that you don't have your number retired.
Oh, what's so special about Billy Cannon reading his number can't be unretired, and the rest of them work?
I don't know.
That's a good
I
question.
hadn't read through that, but that's what they decided. I'm just telling you again that they have had multiple Heisman winners that do not have their jersey retired, and that's how pretty much every school has been doing it, or at least a lot of schools. I shouldn't say every, but a lot of schools are doing it that way.
Well, I mean, I know some schools. Alabama has never retired a number, but I'm saying if you've never done it, that's one thing. The schools that have retired a number, I would expect for that to carry on. I mean,
but it has not been carrying on, and because like someone is not wearing number 9 right now for Joe Burrow, but his number's not technically retired either, and he won the Heisman and they won the national championship that year. So, really, they're not treating this any differently than they're treating some of these other situations. And again, every school can be different, but I mean, if you've got guys from all over the place that are winning Heismans, but they're not getting their jersey numbers retired also, I mean, you're not being like, you can believe you should be, but it's also not like they're doing something that's foreign or unnecessary or anything like that. It may not be what he personally agrees with. Obviously, he'd love to get his jersey retired. Who wouldn't? But they've also set some precedent. Like, they unretired their stuff. They like they had, what was it, 8 numbers that they unretired, or 6 numbers that they unretired.
Oh, wow.
So like LSU is not doing this anymore.
Well, let me ask you this, Tim. If a quarterback came over here and won Sullivan's jersey, you'd be happy if they gave it to him. They had some hot shot, maybe like that Seaborn guy. If that's what it took to get him over here, to get Auburn in the playoffs and get them a possible ability of getting the national title game or whatnot. If that's what it took, you'd be all right with that.
But see, Sullivan's number is already retired, so I view that as differently. Sullivan's number is retired. It should stay retired.
Okay, all right, so stay retired.
Yeah.
But let's say they unretired, if that's what it took to get the hot shot stud, the best deals in the land, or whatever, if that's what it really took. We're not talking about money. He just wants that jersey.
I would have wanted Pat Sullivan's blessing, which unfortunately we cannot get anymore. So, if you're going to honor people in that way, I think it's pretty lame to take it back after the fact. But if you set the precedent, you're not going to do that, then I think you're well within your right not to do that.
Right. Well, we'll see as time goes on. I'm pretty sure at some point somebody's going to come over there and they're going to want Terry Beasley's number, and somebody's going to say, well, he's the best receiver, best running back in the nation. If that's what it's going to take, that's what we got to do, even though it might ruffle some feathers and make some people feel uncomfortable. That's the route we going if that's what it's going to take to win.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. But again, the whole difference is that we're talking about a number that is actually retired versus a number that was not retired. And again, like, I wish that every Heisman Trophy winner could get their number retired, but we're also talking about a sport where we put 100+ people on a team and we already have a bunch of duplicate numbers. We've got to think this thing through, that if we do this 100 more years or more, you're going to run out of numbers and you're going to be wearing 3 numbers on a jersey. All kinds of weird things, which I guess we could just suck up and get used to, but you have to make a decision if you're going to do that or not.
You're going to have so many players that are going to be that special anyway. And look, Auburn ain't had but 3 Heisman winners in the whole program history. And then when you throw Beasley, how special he is, that's only 4 players.
I wasn't talking about Auburn in particular. I wasn't talking about Auburn in particular. I'm talking about any program that has a ton of worthy guys.
I'm saying, but I don't think you're going to have that many players that they're going to be that special like that, that regular. That would be a problem anytime soon. But if that's what they want to do, that's fine. But all the players that unretired was who were those players? Was Brett Jones one of them? Burt Jones? I'd assume his number was retired, wasn't it?
Looking it up now.
Back then in the 70s.
Let's see. The only one that's officially retired was Billy Cannon, obviously. The others were Charles Alexander, Burt Jones, Jerry Stovall, and Tommy Casanova were the ones that were unretired post 2007.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess they got to do what they got to do.
Now, here's the thing: is we mentioned it a little bit earlier. North Carolina basketball honors jerseys, and that's what LSU has. And I don't know if it's their facility or where it is, but those players, the number 4 that Charles Alexander wore, the number 7 that Burt Jones wore, are honored down at LSU as their jersey. Their jersey is retired, but the number itself is at the coach's discretion if they want to give it out.
Well, I guess let them get it out there. That's what it's going to take Kiffin to maybe to win or whatever he's doing. I mean, I ain't surprised at him because that's just what he does. He does everything shady, underhanded, nasty. So I'm not surprised at Kiffin. I mean, but I probably would have told a young man, being a special number or whatnot, that guy that won the Heisman, you can go with another number. It's not going to hurt you to wear something else. It's not going to kill you to wear anything else, and see if he would, you just wear another number. You go, this is a new day, you come to LSU, whatever you did in high school or whatever, a little league or Parks and Rec or Pop Warner football, that's all behind you now. And you just wear a new number. He can't wear a new number. He got to wear that. So let him wear it or whatever. Huh?
Well, I was just going to say, if he, if it's not retired, he can ask the question. It's just, like you said, it was up to Lane Kiffin to say yes.
So let him wear it. Equipment manager could have said, "Well, we lost it. We can't find it." That's probably what would have happened in the old days. Equipment manager told me, "Well, we can't find it." And we ain't got the money to order another one, so you had to go with something else. I mean, people didn't have jerseys that plentiful like that back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah.
They got jerseys all everywhere. But I just want to get y'all take on it. We'll see what y'all thought or whatnot. Everybody got their different opinion, and that's good too. But I don't know. I just kind of would have rather not it be used again, but that's just how it rolled. But let me ask you this now. Now that he had his attorney to send a letter in and everything, and they can't use the image any kind of way, what do you guys think about that?
I mean, it's I won't say it's unheard of, but it's incredibly rare. And I do just hate the situation in a whole because, it's just going to be causing a rift between him and LSU and the fan base and that sort of thing. And, I wish you'd be able to celebrate, again, a great player like that. But also when you're if you're Jaden Daniels, again, I just mentioned a litany of names from other schools that did not have their jersey retired with winning the Heisman. So I don't see how his situation is particularly unique in that it deserves a huge court battle or anything of that sort. So, because I even watched what RG3 said, because I'm like, again, this dude meant so much to Baylor. His Baylor team had the exact same record that Jaden Daniels' LSU team had when they both won the Heisman. And Baylor hasn't done anything as a program compared to LSU. And I was watching RG3, and he's like, man, I believe that every Heisman winner should have their jersey retired, but this is not the way to go about it. This is not going to do any good to have a public dispute like this, and it's just going to sour both sides. So, I just think the whole situation is regrettable.
So when they shoot any promos now on promoting their program in any kind of way as far as athletic goes, his likeness, pictures, or image, nothing of him holding a Heisman or anything with him or making any plays on the field or doing anything can be LSU cannot show them or use them, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Man, that's kind of messed up because that's like erasing yourself from history when you do that.
Yeah, I don't really think it serves Jaden Daniels. I just don't know. I get it. He's awesome, and he feels that he's not being appropriately honored. But now in this way, he's just having people feel like he's not a part of what they did at all. So I don't know. I don't think it works out well for him.
So he probably won't never be invited back anytime soon, then, right?
Not in the near future. I mean, unless they can smooth this over. I mean, I don't know. They said his camp was still talking to LSU, so I don't know exactly how it turned out, but it's not in good graces right now.
Oh man, I tell you, well, it is what it is. Well, guys, I appreciate it.
You too, appreciate it. That is Anthony from Auburn joining us on the Sports Call phone line. All right, we got to go really quickly with this. Ceiling and floor, Alabama schedule. East Carolina at Kentucky, Florida State, host South Carolina at Mississippi State, host Georgia at Tennessee, host Texas A&M at LSU, at Vandy, host Chattanooga, host Auburn and Partridge and a Pear Tree. Jack, go ahead. Ceiling, floor, give me everything for Alabama this year.
I think I'm going to go floor. I'm going to go 6 wins. I'm going to go 6 wins for floor. if things just kind of fell apart this year. If the quarterback position doesn't work out, running game isn't there, then just allow other teams to bully. I think 6 wins could be the chaotic year for them. Ceiling though, I'm gonna say 11. I'm gonna say 11 wins. I do think they still drop one. It's really hard to go undefeated in the SEC. But they are a team that has that capability to do that. They can. And then finally, with my overall prediction, I think 9 wins. I think 9 wins is probably where they'll be at.
Okay.
Floor for me, I'm gonna say 7-5. I think there's a few games like Georgia, Tennessee, Texas A&M, LSU, and then I'll give it between Auburn and Florida State. On their worst year, they lose one of those. Ceiling, I'm gonna go 12-0. I think that you look at this what they've done. The biggest roadblocks are Texas A&M and Georgia, and they've I would say the biggest would be Georgia there, and they've consistently been able to beat Georgia with Kalen DeBoer, even as the head coach. And so I think 12-0 is my ceiling. Realistically, I think 10-2. I think Georgia and one other combination of Tennessee, Texas A&M, or LSU confidently for me gets them.
This might be at least tied for my lowest difference between ceiling and floor. I've typically been running 5 to 6 games of difference in ceilings and floors. I'm cutting it way down. My floor is actually only 8-4. I don't see the thing falling apart on Alabama. Now, they've got their Georgia, Tennessee, Texas A&M, and LSU stretch, and I surmise that maybe they could lose all those or they lose 3. I know they lost Florida State last year, but now they're at home, and Gus Malzahn is not coordinating for Florida State. So I don't see them losing Kentucky or South Carolina or Mississippi State on their worst year. At Vandy is possible. Maybe they did beat Tennessee or something, but lost to Vandy. It'd be weird, but they've lost Vandy before. And then I just don't like Auburn's chances on the road. If it's a road Iron Bowl for Alabama, then yeah, give me Auburn in Alabama's worst year, but not in the right Denny. And then ceiling, I'll go 11-1 because I do, like Jack, think this league's just too tough for that, and I don't think Alabama's the best team in this league. I think they're one of the best teams. They're not the best team in the league, and therefore they will drop to somebody, someone in that October 10th to November 7th stretch. You got 2 roads, you got 2 homes. We've seen Kalen DeBoer has been able to lose a home game. It's not been impenetrable. They lost to Oklahoma last year. So, I think that, they will have a good year. I will go 10-2 also. I voted them 3rd. I didn't love it, but I voted them 3rd. And so that implied to me a 7-2 SEC record. I think they do actually lose at home to Georgia this year, and then they lose to either Tennessee or LSU on the road. All right, that's going to do it for us. Sorry I had to be a little bit abbreviated, but we appreciate those phone calls from Anthony and Luke there in hour number 3. Again, next week we'll get back at it because tomorrow we only have a 1-hour show. Jack Myrie, thank you for being here today, sir. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you next week.
See you then.
And Brooks Childress, thank you for being here. We'll see you for that short show tomorrow.
I'll see you then.
That does it for us here on this Thursday edition of the program. Again, one more time, I want to thank Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Observer for joining us. And as always, we appreciate all those that tuned in and called in. For Brooks Childress and Jack Myrick, my name is Ryan Lavoie. Have a great rest of your Thursday, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Looking for great deals?